Hold on there. Easy there. New track. Yeah. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We're back for more Ace Attorney Chronicles. What? Thought we were done? You didn't hear me in the last end of the last part? No, no, no. Oh, no, no, no. We still got one more game to go through. I told you this was well, in the tweet I said it's a duology, but so we can't not continue. We gotta select an adventure. Not this. No, no, no. Ace Attorney 2, the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve Adventures. This is Resolve. Okay, so Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. Or is the Ace Attorney of Resolve 2? No, it must be the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. Continuing where we left off, hopefully. I wonder how long it's been since the games. What's this? Oh, did he die?
Standing here in the bright sunshine, looking out over the vast ocean. Those days in London seem like a dream. But I do miss my time in England's vast capital.
Susato.
You know, he's flourished into a truly wonderful lawyer. I've no doubt that at this very moment, he's fighting some noble cause in court.
Uh-oh. I got it. That's a flag. Probably rifling through a dumpster or something.
Forgive me for taking so long to come to visit you. My life has been such a whirlwind since I returned. And no one could have predicted what has happened. Just 2 months after arriving home.
So yeah, this is 2 months. I find myself faced with another awful crime. Oh, her again.
So I came here today to ask something of you.
Oh, she needs our help.
Tomorrow, I shall be standing in court. For the only time in my life. As a lawyer.
Oh, so it's her turn now. Oh, but she was killed.
So please, I ask for your guidance. Kazuma-sama.
Yeah, it wasn't thing, Kazuma. Because yeah, obviously we can't do anything. The adventure. So yeah, it's her turn now. Ooh, I didn't think it'd go this way. We must be playing as Susato. Defendant's antechamber. Haven't been here in a while. Here I am again after 9 months. The Supreme Court Judicator of Japan. I feel so nervous, but I must steal my nerves and find a way to compose myself. Good, you're here. It doesn't do for a lawyer to be late. Oh, yes, good morning, sir. I hardly recognize you. You cut a fine figure, counsel. Yeah, she's in the thing Yume University uniform. But you look as white as a sheet, and those wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Oh dear. The truth is, I'm so incredibly nervous, I feel utterly nauseated. I almost wish that I'd never been born. Goodness, not the sort of thing a father hopes to hear from his daughter, I must say. This man, Eugene Mikotoba, professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University, a man who, earlier in his life, traveled to Great Britain to study the latest advances in forensic medical science. And of course, my brilliant father. Excuse me? New assistant? Yes. Would I be correct in thinking that you're to be my lawyer in court? Oh. No, this is our client. Yes, that's right. Miss? Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to represent me. I swear on my life. It's a complete fabrication, this whole thing. Ray Membami. During the same year as I. Am I great? Oh, literally, and literally almost the exact same situation too. Here's am my greatest friend. Though unusual for a woman in our time, she works at the university research laboratory, helping my father, which is the... Well, no, Kazuma wasn't, and sadly, she's a defendant in today's trial, accused of committing a really awful murder. Are you feeling all right? Since we started talking, you seem, well, to have become a little flushed. Oh my, well, it's just that you look so gallant and dashing. Sorry? And when I fall under your intense gaze, it makes me feel rather bashful. Goodness, I don't think she knows. She hasn't realized who I am. It would seem my little plan for this trial is going to work. Oh? What do you mean, Professor Mikotoba? Even if even your best friend can't see through the disguise, I think we can relax. Disguise? Yes, I've never tried dressing this way before, of course, so I wasn't sure how convincing it would be. But this does make me feel a little relieved, as you say. Father? Father? What? Is that you, Susato? I'm so sorry I didn't say something sooner, Ray. I'm just that. No! What are you doing? What's going on? What? That varsity uniform, that varsity cap, that varsity cape, that varsity badge. Oh, so she must have borrowed. Yeah, she must have borrowed the. Wait, hold on. Is she even? I wonder. Would she even be old enough at this point in time to even go to the university? Because I think the answer is no. Because it's only been. She said it's only been 9 months since the last time she was here, which is for Ryunosuke's trial. So. No, she not even a year older, and they think she was only 16 at the time. So unless it's the age limit is different. She's too young. She's too young. Wait, sorry. 1 sec. Lock in. Hold it. 1 sec. 1 sec. Okay. Okay, so we're doing something called a crime, a giga crime. And she asked Kaz that was Kazuma's grave. I thought it was her dad, because last time that's the reason why she left, because her dad fell ill and it seemed to be getting worse. But as we see now, I guess he's fine now. Look at you. You look for all the world just like a student of the Imperial Human University, a male student. Because I like to male student. I'm so glad you think so. So glad you think so. It means all my preparations have been worthwhile. I woke at 4 this morning to make a start, but I don't understand. Why are you dressed like that? If you don't remember, I think in the first. No, well, obviously it was the first trial because that's the only trial that took place in Japan. The first trial, they made a comment about how women were allowed in the chamber. Because remember, this is like 1800s Japan, and yeah. Well, you see, it was the only way she would be permitted into the Supreme Court to take your defense in this trial. My defense? Never before in my life have I felt so frustrated having been born into this body. Yeah, I really shouldn't be like that. Courts in Japan are barred to women. We're not even allowed to set foot inside the courtroom. Even if you're the accused, I'm guessing. Holy, that's crazy. Despite the fact that the laws of the land apply to all people, male and female alike. Yeah, that literally makes no sense. Yeah. So doesn't that mean she can't even go, but women are forbidden? It's not even she can go in. Just for today, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door so that I can act as your lawyer. Oh, Susato, you'd go to such lengths for me? Of course. You're my greatest friend. I just worry that I shan't be the lawyer you deserve. No, I have complete faith in you. Ray. It's so strange though. I mean, you're such an accomplished judicial assistant already, and yet just because you're a woman, what a wretched reason. I mean, why should you be allowed in court? You're so gallant and dashing. Yeah, that's one of the things, because not even London was like that. You're so gallant. I mean, why should you be allowed in court? You're so gallant and dashing. Ray, please don't look at me like that with those flushed cheeks and doting eyes. Oh, I'm sorry. I just, oh, really? It just, you really do look so dashing. Yes, you mentioned it that once or twice. You should be pleased. It means you look convincing as a man. I'm pleased. I think it's certainly helped me to bolster my confidence today. Ray, you're managing to put on a brave face in all this, but I can see through it. You've noticed how your shoulders are slumped and how you're trembling ever so slightly. Shut up, Susato. You do believe me, don't you? I didn't do it. I couldn't have. I mean, murder? Of course. You have nothing to worry about. Your conscience is perfectly clean. Isn't that right? Yes. Yes, it is. Perfectly clean. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind about your innocence, which is why I'll stand by you until the bitter end in this trial. Whatever happens, I'll always be on your side, because that's what it means to be a defense lawyer. That means so much to me, Susato. Words of wisdom. Defendant, counsel. Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. Good luck. You should go in at once, Ray. If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty. Oh. Stand aside! Phew! I don't think I've ever seen her run so fast. You. Well, Susato, you certainly surprised your father, going to such lengths to be admitted into the courtroom, and with no prior experience of being a lawyer. Well, nah, she's watched us do it. There was simply no other way. That's all there is to it. My father. You haven't told her, have you? I mean, I'm right in assuming that Ray doesn't know how it came to this. Yes, quite right. I've kept that information from her. It would only worry her if she found out that no other lawyer would agree to take her case. I didn't want to burden her with that. And is it true? The reason why every other lawyer is refused to take the case? Yes, it is really because of who the victim was. Yeah. From 9 months ago. You should be making a move now too. As you know, law is my field, but I'll do what I can to support my student. Thank you, father. I'm Susato Mikotoba, a judicial assistant. 8 months ago, I accompanied a student of law on a study trip to Great Britain. But 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, I found myself back in Japan. How many times have I wished that he were here? I wonder. Still, I have no choice now but to steel myself for the trial ahead. Wish me luck, Naruhodo-san. Two months. So yeah, so it's been 2 months since she left. Supreme Court of Justice, Judicature, Courtroom 1. This court is now in session to hear the trial of Ray Membami Aochi. Is he? Oh, his top knot is gone. The prosecution is fully ready to proceed, Your Excellency. Defense counsel, are you ready? Yes, Your Excellency, we are ready. Alrighty. Yes, counsel. According to your registration details, your name is Ryutaro Naruhodo. Is that though? Did you guys say that were his brother, his little brother? Yeah, Ryutaro Naruhodo. Is that correct? Sorry? Yes. Oh, yes. I had to come up with a suitable male name for you for this little venture. Yeah, she's doing the same thing we were. So I'm afraid I have to say simply I put down the first name that sprung to mind. Naruhodo? Well, counsel? Yes, that's right. That's me. Yes, I am Ryutaro, he who is about to uphold the pride of the great Naruhodo clan. It seems Ryutaro may need to consider how better to uphold his manly act first and not overdo it. And those wild, wide eyes aren't going to be doing any favors either. Just relax and listen. Naruhodo? A fresh face in this courtroom, if I'm not mistaken. But the name Naruhodo, would that perchance be... You may be thinking of Ryunose Naruhodo, currently in Britain as a part of the study program. This is his cousin. His cousin, yeah. His cousin. That's right. Ryutaro, who has been studying in the provinces, but was called to the capital for this trial. I assure you, in the matters of law, his knowledge rivals that of any Tokyo's preeminent lawyers. Any of them. What a pitiful situation. Having been rejected by every lawyer in the capital, the accused has had to call him the country boy. How dare you? Susanoo... Huh? Susanoo to everybody. Who is that? A bit of Galadin. That's my middle name. Susanoo. I won't have you making fun of her. Her? Please be careful, Ray. What an unrefined tomboy we have here. But I wonder, is your gallant and dashing lawyer up to the challenge of defending you? Hey man, tomboys are in demand, okay? Now and forevermore. I'm just so nervous. Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand what Naruhodo's saying goes through. Oh, like it or not, eyes are on. Ours are wont to flit. You can't help but be twitchy in that position. The case to be heard on this day is a matter of great significance to our national interest. In fact, it would be reasonable to assume that the outcome of this trial may well affect the very future of our empire. Just like the trial 9 months ago. And yet, for proceedings of such importance, we have this unknown yokel by the dock. Dear me. Perhaps this would be an appropriate moment for me to assess the defense to determine whether you are sufficiently competent to practice in this courtroom. 9 months ago, when a certain other Naruhodo stood where you're standing now. This same judge tested him as well. Yeah, exactly. And even then, at least she had some knowledge of the law where he didn't know anything. He knew nothing at all. He passed the test with flying colors. Basically, he's like, for a trained and experienced judicial assistant like you, this will be, yeah, it should be easy. So, counsel, do you consent to answering some sensible questions? All right, it's time to prove myself. Yes, Your Excellency, but please do make them simple. Very well. To start with, you will state the name of the victim. Ooh, that's as simple. I couldn't forget that if I tried. Oh, that's easy, right? It's... What's the matter? Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand something else Naruhodo-san goes through. This is just, like it or not, minds are want to blank. Oh, brother, I can't remember. It's not surprising, really. It's your first time in this position, and that, guys, even a bright spark like you is bound to flicker and falter a little under the circumstances. Oh dear, this is a dismal failure. Don't fret. You need only use the knowledge you gain as a judicial assistant to overcome the problem. Of course, the court record. I don't have access to the button yet, so I can't press it. Yes, the answer will be amongst all the key information about the case in the court record. Hold on. Wait, 1 sec. How long did these two games come out? Hold on. Okay, I didn't... Adventure. Let's see. It came out in 2015. I think I remember that. And then oh, I guess that's right. So yes, that's right. This game never got translated from the 3DS. I forgot about that. Yeah. And yeah, this collection is the first release. The first is the only worldwide release of the game. I forgot about that. I thought it was on the 3. Well, it is a 3DS game, but it never was released in the West, basically. But one came out in 2015. The second one came out in 2017. So 2 years of development. Okay. That answers that question. Yeah. Yes, I remember. I was just there. The people don't take too long over it. They're just actually watching you closely. All right. Check the court record with E, and then check the court record with E key on the keyboard. What's a keyboard? I don't know. That's where the information I need will be. Well, I don't even need to look. I can. It's Giselle Brett. Yeah, it's just that. Yeah, no. Yeah, assistant. Yeah, it's just waiting on counsel. What is the name of the victim in this case? Eugene Mikotoba. Giselle Brett.
Yes.
Hand up. The name of the victim who lost her life in this case is Miss Giselle Brett. Giselle Brett. A name that will never be forgotten in the courtrooms of our country, I'm sure. Yes, correct. The basically who killed Thing, but they basically seemingly didn't get a punishment for it at all. And being a member of our Empire Judiciary, you will be well aware of the significance of that name. So, let me pose another simple question. As you know, Miss Brett was a visiting student from the Empire of Great Britain. Why, then, is her name indelibly associated with our own Empire's judicial history? Obviously, you won't have forgotten that case from 9 months ago. Well, but she basically wasn't here for that, was just, to be honest, because she was off fetching the thing we needed. But if it's proving hard to recall the finer points, everything needed is included in the court record. Obviously, I still remember. That was the start of everything. Giselle Brett, behind the woman's student persona, was the face of a killer.
Yes.
A killer. She killed Thing. Dr. Watson, 9 months ago, a visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University, was killed. And the culprit was Giselle Brett. Yes, he was a killer. At the time, our country had just signed a new treaty with the Empire of Great Britain, and it was in the midst of this delicate diplomatic situation that the incident occurred. An Englishman, Dr. John H. Wilson, Dr. John H. Wilson, was shot dead. I believe he was an associate of yours, Professor Mikotoba. Yes, I was indebted to the man. He'd been my mentor when I went to London to study forensic medicine. Indeed, it was I who invited him here to Japan as a visiting professor at the university. Naturally, the murder of an Englishman on our soil was a matter of the government wished to resolve rapidly. Indeed it was, which is why a secret trial was conducted here at the Supreme Court. A student of the Imperial Yume University was arrested on suspicion of murder. A second-year English language student by the name of... Oh, he's an English language... Oh, he was studying English, so no. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, so he probably already knew how to speak English. With the help of his best friend, a student lawyer, the accused conducted his own defense. What a trial that was. What a trial that was. and expose the despicable crime committed by Miss Josiah Brett. But Miss Brett eventually admitted to her crime. However, when questioned about the motive that drove her to take Dr. Wilson's life, oh, here we go. Some more new information because we never learned that in the first game. She gave no satisfactory answer before the trial reached its conclusion. No, she didn't. Okay. Immediately after the trial, the British government brought its consular jurisdiction into play. They were unable. Oh, so no, it wasn't that they couldn't do anything. The London government empire stepped in and said, nope, you can't do anything to her. And unable to sentence Miss Brett according to our empire's laws. It was decided that she would be removed to Shanghai, China instead. Why Shanghai? There's a British consular court there. Correct. I oversaw the negotiation personally. I guess he was about to be transferred there. The date of her transfer to Shanghai was finally settled upon only last week. It was supposed to be the day of her murder. All that remained of our empire's obligation was to see the woman's safety on board the steamship. And yet, the very day before, of course it was the day before her departure, the English woman was killed. Only the day before. Yeah, that seems, that's suspicious. I wish I could pop up images. Well, I can, but oh, thank you, Your Excellency. Over the first hurdle. Now, a summary of the incident, if you please. Prosecutor Alchi. As is your wish, Your Excellency. The repugnant crime took place on the 11th of August in broad daylight on the beach, or it looks like a hot spring, not a beach, on the outskirts of the imperial capital under a bright blue sky at a secluded bathing spot by the sea. The incident occurred just inside a small beach hut erected for bathers to rest or change their clothes. She died with the cause of death was a single stab wound to the posterior abdomen that pierced the victim's lung. She died with a smile, it seems. The injury which proved fatal. There were two persons alone together in the beach hut at the time of the victim's death. Miss Brett, in her bathing attire, and the accused Ray Membami. Accordingly, there can be no doubt from the accused's guilt, especially when we consider she had a powerful motive. The police arrived rapidly at the scene and promptly arrested the young lady. Motive? What motive? So you say motive, what is it? Well, that extraordinary description of events leaves me somewhat lost for words, I must say. That's certainly true. The prosecution summary was full of words that raise an awful lot of questions. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution accounts on what he said about powerful motive. Oh, she already got the slam down. You're clearly examining a powerful motive, a blatant overstatement. Is the yokel boy using long words he doesn't fully understand? I beg your pardon? No matter. Let us put this to the accused, shall we? Membani-san, you are a research assistant at the Superior Yume University, I believe. Yes, I am. I'm working with Professor Mikotoba in his laboratory at the moment. I can confirm that. This defendant is exactly consistent with a strong sense of responsibility. Fascinating to hear. Now, another question. Prior to your work with Professor Mikotoba, whose research were you assisting then? Oh, it was studying under Dr. John H. Wilson. Dr. Wilson? The visiting English professor who was murdered by the Miss Brett 9 months ago? Okay, but she wouldn't have known that. That trial was secret. That doesn't make any sense. The accused had a deep-seated hate and respect for her former mentor, Dr. Wilson. Is that not true? Yes, Dr. Wilson was a wonderful man. Interesting. And tell the court what deep-seated feelings you had towards the Englishman who killed him. Well, obviously I was full of hatred for what she'd done, a powerful hatred. Oh no, Ray, be careful of what you're saying. Ah, you could say that their motive was revenge. Plain and simple, Your Excellency. Well, it was clearly a trap all along. How wicked of him to use Ray's undying respect for her former mentor against her like that. I must find out more details. It's something we can use to bolster our defense. As a lawyer, I really have to pick up the prosecution counsel what he said about being alone together. Membrani-san? Yes, what is it? Naruhodo-san? I'm really starting to wish we'd made it either Ryutaro Suzato. No, they would have said Suzato is no. Please tell the court why exactly you were present at the bathing spot with the victim in the first place, and why you were alone with her. Oh, well, no, that's not true. That wasn't like that at all. There were other people present, a detective who was guarding Miss Brett for starters. It was just asked to accompany Miss Brett as a companion, that's all. But let's be clear, Hosonaga, at the moment of her death, you were alone together with the victim in the hut, yet you and no one else. The truth is, there is only one reason why this young woman accompanied Miss Brett on her bathing sojourn. It was the accused's last chance to take the victim's life. No. Because, as we know, the following day would see Miss... Okay, but see, he's putting... But how would she know that? That's my first thing would be like, she did, how would she know that? And the accused would never have an opportunity to dispatch her again. Kindly refrain from conjecture, counsel. The prosecution counsel seems to enjoy using provocative tricks like that. But for now, at least, we need to assemble more facts. Try not to let him goad you. Oh dear, this is really terrifying. The father's right. We need more information. As a lawyer, I should really have to obey this part. If I may, Prosecutor Alchi, what do you want? Your fresh-faced young yokel student? I wonder, could you be explained, please? That you mentioned a bathing spot. Ah, my apologies. Clearly, my modernity has confused the poor country bumpkin's simple mind. Bathing spots are the very latest trend in health practices from the West. We are told that bathing in the water of the ocean is curative, therapeutic, and excellent for the skin. No, that's not what I meant. I was referring to the fact that Miss Brett had, to all intents and purposes, been found guilty of murder. Why would a known criminal have been relaxing by the sea? For old time's sake, I believe... Sorry? Miss Brett was disembarked from Shanghai for the following day. Her final wish, as it were, was to enjoy a day at our country's wonderful coast. And the British embassy put extreme pressure on our government to comply. Oh, that's odd. That's another sus. Where's my sus alert? But I won't grant because, as usual, our government is unable to stand up to foreign powers. In matters of diplomacy, it seems we don't even have the courage to decline the whims of a known criminal. Ah, that's really bad. But don't look at me, Professor. It was the government who granted permission, not I. I mean, you would have folded too. In any case, it was decided that with a dedicated detective on duty, nothing could go wrong. Yeah, is it the same one that let the 3 things go wrong? But in fact, a murder took place. I said, don't look at me. It was that young student girl who did it, not I. No one has proved that yet. I wouldn't provoke the man if you don't need to. I believe we all have the clear picture of the incident now. Despite her guilt being determined 9 months ago, Miss Brett managed to avoid incarceration instead of continuing her research work at the university. Obviously, over that period, she and Ray would have encountered each other on a number of occasions. So why now, seeing the murder of a mentor for whom she had such great respect, enjoying such undeserved liberty? Yes, even if it was only temporary until Miss Brett's extradition to Shanghai. You can hardly blame Ray for her feelings of anger and resentment. Poor Ray. Yeah, walking free, but that doesn't mean you. So, Your Excellency, if you'd be so kind as to peruse this exhibit, the picture that shows the scene of the crime immediately following the grim incident. Yes, thank you, counsel. A tragic image. As you can clearly see, there's nowhere else but the hut within the hut that anyone could have been hidden. The court will accept this photo as evidence. As I understand it, then the victim and the defendant were alone inside the beach hut. Hold on, let me go check out this picture real quick. How? My thing is how does she get behind her when? Yeah, that's my first thing. Is like, how does she get behind her? Because it looks like she was sitting on that stool. Yeah, it doesn't really make that doesn't really make sense how it could be from behind. As I understand it, that the victim and the defendant were alone inside the beach hut at the time. This is deeply troubling, I must say. The finger of guilt points firmly at the defendant. We intend to prove the accused appalling actions beyond all possible contention. To that end, I can confirm that we have multiple witnesses to the crime and damning evidence. Witnesses, but who? One of whom, I might add, is a highly respected police detective. Osanoga, I assure you, the testimony of the witnesses will leave no room for doubt. Ugh. Very well then, counsel. Bring forth your witnesses. I, Takasushi, have been waiting for this moment. Uh-oh. Ever since that your freaking cousin owned me in court, this is my revenge. Sorry? Oh yes, I haven't forgotten that trial 9 months ago here in this very courthouse, when that irreverent little student boy utterly humiliated me. Ah, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Huh? What? Yes? This is insult to the Aochi's family name. I will never be forgotten. You've become conceited with age, counsel, but the old will have to stand aside to make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. Yeah, Kazuma cut off his top knot. Judgment cut. So he never put it back up since then. Oh, but it started growing back a little bit. Strike the head of a samurai whose top knot has been cut, and the bellow of cultural enlightenment tolls. Yes, on that fateful day, my former self died. The start of your own mini Meiji revolution. Are you modernizing as well, counsel? Silence. Because I swore revenge back then, there has been a minor miracle atop my head. Observe the Aochi growth. You see, this is the seed of hope sprouting forth from the barren expanse of my crown. I think it's that tiny girls are trying to tell me something. I'm afraid I can't really see. Where is this hope exactly? I said silence. Today I face another yokel student of the Naruhodo clan. Well, I will vanquish you, and my victory will be fertilizer for the seed of hope atop my head. You have been warned, though he's fighting for to stop being bald. With that, the prosecution calls the witnesses to the stand. It looks like the stakes are high on both sides in this trial. Dad, what are you talking about? The prosecution and defense has much to lose. Wait, what do you... A haircut is hardly comparable to Ray's life, yeah. What are you saying? Like, Dad, what are you talking about? Wait! You two? Hosonaga and Natsumi, or Soseki. Witnesses, please state your names and the occupations for the court. Hosonaga, Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Imperial Police Bureau. I'm in disguise, obviously, so I can go undetected. Well, and I am, well, the next big thing in books, an author renowned throughout the capital. In fact, yes. Soon to be sold as satirical I Am a Cat. A sensational success by Soseki Natsume. Oh my goodness. Struggling student from the provinces, please. You need to be in awe of me. I need it? It's only natural that you feel nervous in my presence. But all of you, please relax. Call me Soseki even. Yes. What is this goober doing here? What on earth is Soseki-san doing here? Tread carefully, Suzato. That author fellow knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? Yes, he does. If he exposes you for who you really are, this will be over before it's begun. Yes, of course. I know. I presume Soseki-san will have forgotten about me. I could certainly never forget about him. Although he does seem to have changed somewhat in the 6 months or so that it's been since I last saw him. And as for Inspector Hosonaga, that amazing outfit is hard to believe. Do I have something on my face? Well, your glasses for one, although they don't seem to be helping you see. Thank goodness he hasn't recognized me either. I suppose this is... Oh, I suppose this is disguise, is it? I thought that appearing here in the clothes I was wearing at the time would make for more faithful testimony. It is my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. Well, I can appreciate why an Imperial Police Bureau detective might have been present, but what business did a writer such as yourself have in being at the scene, Soseki-san? Well, you see, I had been asked that day to give a lecture on the morning of the incident in the Imperial University's Grand Lecture Hall, no less, at Yume University. After the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with the researcher in the medical science department. The professor over there, in fact, with Professor Mikotoba. Yes, that's right. I was arranged by one of the newspapers. They wanted to story some story or other about 2 former students who studied in Great Britain. Of course, being a renowned author, the press never leave me alone. They secretly spy, snatch out scribbled stories, and suffer up my privacy. As you can see, the conversation was written up in this newspaper here. Read it at your leisure, my professional struggling student. Friend, I have plenty of copies. Thank you very much. He practically threw that paper at me. Soseki Natsume article. Anyway, following my interview with the professor. Hold on. Let's check it. Oh, this is one of Wagahai's kids. Huh. Why does it look like the camera's cracked? That's interesting. Because yeah, I guess it's gonna become relevant sooner or later. Anyway, following my interview with the professor, the lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement. I shall have to go with everyone to see your country's coast. Those were her words. As I explained before, Miss Brett was never taken into custody. She continued to work in my laboratory under strict surveillance, of course. At which utterance, the university immediately contacted the government to seek guidance. The rest was permit Miss Brett to go as long as the detective accompanies her. That detective I am at liberty to divulge was me, Chief Inspector. Yeah, thereby the entire party departed cordially for the seaside, it seems. It was extremely challenging to clear all other members of the public from the vicinity of the beach. But fortunately, I am at peak physical fitness at the moment, so... Yeah, he says as he's still coughing up blood, I was able to carry out my duty flawlessly. Oh my, Inspector, you do have something on your face now. Oh, slightly. I do apologize. Does that mean you went to the beach too, father? No, no, no. Fortunately, I have work to finish off. But unfortunately, of course, it means that as my assistant, Ray was invited to take my place. Of course, being a renowned author, I didn't like to decline the invitation. But if only I had, I'd never have seen that awful slight. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret. Very well. I must now ask you to present your formal testimony to the court. You will give an account of all that you witnessed on your impromptu excursion to the coast. Of course, Your Excellency. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret, I am. Hold on, let's get started. Hold on. Whoa, sorry, Saves. You gotta get out of here, bro. Okay. Blossoming on the day of the incident, I was ordered on a specialist surveillance assignment in this disguise. I just managed to catch up that crab when suddenly I heard a caterwaul from behind me. I ran into the beach house at once, where I found the pair in question. Yes, yes, that young girl was astride from the Englishwoman with dagger in hand, and she stabbed wildly. I saw blood on the blade. It proved to me that she'd been stabbed she stabbed the victim multiple times. That's what it is. Issue number 1. That's not true. Only once. Indeed, it does appear from this testimony that both witnesses here present saw it. The very moment of this heinous crime. What? Now, if you will recall, I promised of evidence as well. What phrase did I use again? Ah, yes, that was it. Damning evidence. What we have you there, counsel? A so-called fountain pen, is it? Correct, Your Excellency. I found it at the scene whilst examining the body. It appears that her near dying moments with a fine ounce of strength. The victim touched a piece of evidence that would positively identify her killer. What? Your Excellency, if you would cast your eyes over to the photographic print of the crime scene once more. Yeah, she is holding a pen. Ah, good, it's me. Yes, the victim is clearly grasping something quite deliberately there in her hand. That's right, the fountain pen. And if you would kindly examine the pen, Your Excellency. Ah! The owner's initials have been engraved into the ebonite barrel. R.M. Ray Membami. The initials of the defendant. No! This fountain pen will be admitted immediately as critical evidence. R.M. Oh, we can't even examine it. That's all there is. That's all there is to see is RM. So have I admitted anything? Besides the testimony and the damning evidence. There's a bright blue sky outside the courthouse today. Perfect weather to ascribe guilt, I feel. I don't understand. I prosecuted Archie of 9 months ago. Had none of this man's poise. Counsel for the defense, you may begin your cross-examination now. Naruhodo-san. Naruhodo? That means... Oh, yes. Me. Is there another Naruhodo in my courtroom? Actually, there isn't even a single Naruhodo in your courtroom. Cousin Ryutaro, pull yourself together, please. All right. I've seen this countless times as a judicial assistant. Find inconsistency in the witness's testimony to prove that they're lying. That's all there is to it. That's how a real lawyer would handle a cross-examination. So let's see what I can do. I don't even have a thing. This is the first case, so it's easy. I'm not even gonna look at it. I'm just gonna present it. It's you. Hey, they say you saw her stab her multiple times. Well, yes, the young girl was trying to but it proves to me that she even stabbed her multiple times. Nope, that's wrong.
Objection!
Wrong. What is this? This feels right, if you know what I mean. With that accusatory cry that just welled up from deep inside me, I think I finally understand. Every time Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san has stood here at this bench, the stakes have been very, very high indeed. What's the meaning of that menacing pose, counsel? I'd like the witnesses to clarify something for me. Who? What? Where? When? How? Who? Not you. No, not you, Soseki-san. The query is directed at Inspector Hosonaga. At me? In your statement just now, you said that the victim was stabbed multiple times. Yes, that's right. As I said, when I entered the hut, the defendant was already standing over the victim, bloody knife in hand, like a murderous demon. And yet, that cannot be. What? Get to the point, please, counsel. In the post-mortem report, it clearly states that the victim was stabbed one time only. Ah! In other words, Inspector Hosanaga's testimony is clearly flawed. Ah! And Soseki-san, me, you claim to have seen Membari-san in the throes of stabbing the victim. Yes? Yes, I did. Wildly. But that's not, but both you and the inspector confirmed the same point, that there was already blood on the knife that you saw the defendant holding. Yes. And it's quite simple. We know the murder weapon was used to stab the victim only once. Therefore, there's no way you could have seen the blood on the knife if that single stabbing hadn't already occurred. Ah, true. Then what exactly is your contention, counsel? Are you ever going to tell us? Yes, Your Excellency. There is only one logical conclusion. But the same time as I was not the moment that the defendant stabbed the victim at all, but the moment that the defendant in fact went through the blade from the victim's body. That can't be. Excellent work, Susato. Exploded at them with the objection and then proceeded to pull them apart systematically. Well, this takes me back. Yes, I seem to remember your cousin staged a scene much like this in that trial 9 months ago. A half-witted child with a half-baked objection attempted to steal the show. All right, there are certain similarities. You said that so-called half-witted child managed to outwit the prosecution. There's only half a head of hair. Slander, my head is quite adequately dressed. In any case, all this talk of stabbing and withdrawing and multiple wounds, it makes not a jot of difference. What? Why not? Engage your brain, young man. And the accused first plunged a deadly weapon into the victim. That was a fatal blow. And was the moment that she had just withdrawn the blade ready for her next strike at the witnesses saw. The knife was already tainted with blood because the accused had already stabbed the victim. Ah. All you have successfully shown is with your little display is that the mustache author is prone to moments of extravagance. Ah! Get where in his geta. I'm in agreement with the prosecution. Yeah, I mean, the defendant was seen wielding the blade at all. That is sufficient grounds for her actions to be viewed as with suspicion. But if she was withdrawing the blade, then we are back to where we started. Sorry? Now consider this young Gyoko boy. If the student girl is innocent as you claim, then why would she have stolen the blade from the victim and with a demon's cold blood? Sorry, something distracted me. Why would she have pulled the blade from the victim and with the demon's cold-blooded composure too? Well, hold on. Let's see. Did she die immediately? That's due to trauma. So what is it? So maybe she was alive when the knife was in her back and she was bleeding out. Hold on. Hold on. Let me see. Grant's explanation, it better be good. Why did Ray pull out the knife? Yes. Going for the jugular. What does father mean by that? Let the court hear your answer then, counsel. The truth is, I don't really know, but I have to come up with a plausible reason here, or we don't have a case. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife blade out to the victim's body was surely so she could save her life. Save her life. Yeah. Just like old times, just to be safe, so we don't have to read it again if in case it's wrong. Just save her life. It says trauma, not instant. It didn't say she died instantly. According to the postmortem report, the victim's death was not instant. That's correct. It's thought she would have remained conscious for a short while after sustaining the injury. And indeed, giving her the time to take hold of this piece of evidence that clearly indicates her killer. The point is, being a medical research assistant, Mimani-san was compelled to act when faced with a wounded victim. Instinctively, he pulled the blade out in an attempt to save Miss Brett's life. Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Yeah, the only thing is, yeah, when someone gets stabbed like that, you shouldn't take it out. You shouldn't take the object out. You should leave it in. It would seem this is the best we can expect of the young yokel. Indeed. Is it just me, or does it suddenly feel much colder in here? Your Excellency, if I may, speak, witness. I would like another opportunity to testify in respect to the slipshod assertion just put forward by the Yokel Defense Court Counsel. I mean, slipshod? An excellent idea, Inspector. Our young yokel hopefully has a modicum of knowledge when it comes to the law, it seems. But in matters of medicine, he appears to possess not one iota of common sense. Very well, Inspector. I'll permit your request. He's going to say, yeah, you don't usually take that knife wounds out. You'll testify again before the court on the subject of the defense's counsel's assertion. Yes, sir. I will do so flawlessly. Forensic medicine primer. Pulling a blade from a wound without thinking can cause heavy bleeding. That's basically bonus for that any medical research assistant with an ounce of sense ought to know. In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. Let's not forget that the young student did have a motive for killing the victim. The man was the defendant's highly respected mentor. Is that what you just said true, Inspector? Did pulling a knife from a wound really cause the wound to bleed heavily? Yes. Think of the weapon itself as a stopper in the wound that prevents. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, basically, yeah. You don't want to do that especially if you're like impaled. You don't want to take it out. You don't want to take out what impaled you or the person without, because it'll just take a huge wound and you'll die from blood loss. Blood loss. Until a doctor is ready to provide proper treatment, that stopper shouldn't be removed. Oh, I see. This is why yokels should stay on the farm. Even a quack for someone obscure mountain would have such basic knowledge. Anyone who's ever giving someone a little poke with a knife and put it out again knows it. Oh, well, I've never stabbed anyone, you see, or pulled a blade out of a wound, so of course you haven't. It didn't bring you up to behave out like a bandit. Father, is it true what they're telling me? Yes. It's a basic remedial knowledge of formetics. Ray would have been well aware of it. If she were to claim ignorance of such fundamentals, that would prove fatal in many ways. But then, why would Ray have done it? If she had pulled out that knife at full knowledge that it would be fatal for Miss Bright? I don't know. So the reason is, but what, could there be a reason why she had to pull it out besides that? So Ray never once mentioned anything about the knife to me. It seems the most almost impossible to believe, but could my friend actually have Gato? Yes? Pull yourself together. We mustn't lose sight of why we're here. Ah, Counsel, it's time for your cross-examination. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. However, I must warn you that if your cross-examination fails to prevent any issue with the established facts, I'll be moving on to my adjudication immediately afterwards. I understand. Believing in your clients, I'm fighting for the cause until the bitter end. I knew it would be hard, but I had no idea it would be this hard. Hey man, it took 5 cases to come to that conclusion. A forensic medicine primer. Holding a blade for a wound without thinking can cause heavy bleeding. That's basic knowledge. So no, this is I had to press something. In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull a knife.
Hold it!
But the defendant had suddenly encountered somebody leading to death. Decided could have shocked her delicate sense, caused her to remove the blade inadvertently. I really don't think inadvertent actions can explain this. The woman is a medical research assistant. I can't imagine she would have behaved so rationally. Oh, rational behavior as a woman's prerogative, isn't it? Oh dear, you have a lot to learn about women. Only a small-minded man could have such a bigoted views. Let's go, Vase. Oh dear, perhaps I'm letting my male persona take a hold a little too much. Well, have I managed to convey the basics now? That should cover the medical side of the argument. Don't women do that? Like, well, easy man, that's a little... They have a motive for killing the victim.
Hold it!
But whatever the motive, it just doesn't mean that she had both motive and opportunity. That's very hard to argue against. You don't know the defendant. Conjecture. And you, counsel, do not appear to know the law. Ah, yes, evidence is the only way to convince the court of your argument, not feelings. With this fledgling defendant to defend her, I would almost say I would pity the accused. So do I. Inspector, you will reiterate your point about the defendant's motives, please. Ah, yes. Miss Bright was in many ways the sworn enemy of Miss Bonnie-san. The man and the victim.
Hold it!
Well, yes, that's true. Dr. Wilson recognized Mamadi's-san's talent and offered her a position of assistant despite her being a woman. She was extremely grateful to him. Yes, the Englishman appears to have been a very broad-minded individual. Dr. Wilson had no time for outdated traditions. He met with opposition, of course, but he believed firmly in Mamadi-san's abilities. Clearly, the defendant wasn't a man's depth, which only serves to prove my point. This is hopeless. I can't find a single crack in this testimony anywhere. If Ray knew what was wrong, the knife would express life further. I just can't think of any way to explain why she did it. Susato, it's times like that when it's especially important to remember the fundamentals. The fundamentals. Evidence is what counts in the courtroom, isn't it? Of course, but I've been to court dozens of times. I think perhaps you're forgetting something, though. You need to take the evidence at face value. You can end. Examine in greater detail too. Ah. Oh, okay. So that's why. Okay. So no, just like in the first case in the first game, we have to get to this point because I tried to examine the pen and like, oh, I can't examine the pen because I didn't get to this point yet. So if you need the reminding of the rudiments you usually ask, I'll do my very best to help. Examine the evidence in the court record. It's an idea, certainly. What should I do? I know what to do. Yeah, I know what to do. Come to think of it, Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-sama were always turning our evidence over and over in their heads. Yes, I needed to examine things in greater detail with space. Ah, by the look in your eyes, I see it's coming back to you. Go through the court record again and have a thorough look at everything. You may just find a clue. Yes, I'll do it straight away. Pulling a blade from one. Oh. Yeah, so RM. RM initials are very clearly engraved here. And the fact that this bird was clinging to this pendant is in fact very clearly. The killer, you mean? I don't think there can be any doubt that this is a key piece of evidence in this case. Yeah, my guess is it's actually not this is actually not a pen. Come on, take it out. If we take out the pen's lid. Oh, never mind. It's a pen. Now let's unscrew the barrel, shall we? Oh, it's a thing. It's a syringe. This must be the little reservoir that holds the ink. Huh? Yes, you fill it by drawing ink from a bottle. Oh. Maybe she was trying to... Oh, I see. Oh, I see. I see. Is something wrong, Father? It's just that there doesn't actually appear to be any ink in there. In there, that's all. Oh, yes, you're right. It's pretty much empty. Well, it could be on the verge of running out, I suppose. There's some sort of emblem here, look. But it isn't a Yume University one. It must belong to some other organization, I suppose. A business of some kind. But that would seem to imply that the pen doesn't in fact belong to Ray. So basically, okay, here we go. So we're gonna say that. Young student. So what were we saying?
Hold it.
Yeah, I read this. Okay, so oh, there you go. I can. This is a newspaper from Soseki-san. There seems to be an important article on the back page as well. This was a deadly poison stolen from UA Medical Research Laboratory. For you, oh, brother, isn't that your lab? What the? Let me see that. The poison's been stolen? Is this running papers that Soseki-san gave us? Are you saying you didn't know? As embarrassing as that is for the head of the laboratory, I didn't. I've not heard any such thing. Where on earth could the reporter have gleaned his information? Come to think of it, there was no article mentioned in the story in our paper this morning, was there? It's a highly toxic poison we're working on that in the strictest confidence. I put Ray in charge of that project. Ray? She was managing it? If what's right in here is true, it means that she tried to hide the theft from me. And moreover, the details were leaked somehow. I don't believe it. We need to read this article very carefully. Oh, this might come back. Thank Rocka's English returnees tell all. This is the issue. You and Soseki-san is a father? was quite an exchange. Yes, he became a little over-animated when he was talking about his time in England. The photograph managed to capture the moment his hand karate chopped me. His hand karate chopped me on the neck. I do hope you were hurt. Okay. Hmm. Meiosis. People constricted with a strained in both eyes. Okay.
Hold it.
Did I do this one? Okay, so there's the obvious suspicion here. Which is clearly defendant remember son. It's not possessing. It's the house of son. No, you can't say that. What do you think about that, Professor Mikotoba? I'm not sure that you should be labeling your best friend as a lacking in common sense. Well, I thought it would be better than labeling her as a murderer. I don't know, young people. I don't know young people today. And that's friendship. I don't understand it. Careful, counsel. A lack of common sense can be very dangerous. Can be a very dangerous thing. Oh dear. That recalled me rather badly. That's life, I'm afraid. Lesson everyone must learn. Hopefully you can see now that this is really basic medical knowledge. Being involved in a medical research, Nabani-san would have certainly have been aware of it. Yeah, as much as you oppress everything.
Hold it.
You say doing it without thinking would be a problem. Does that mean that if you use due care and attention, it would be all right? It wouldn't have thought of this needed filling out. Really? But the blade is like the stopper in the wound. Remove it, and it's a serious hemorrhage would occur. In other words, a medic would need to be present before any attempt was made to withdraw the blade. Doing it without thinking would be madness. You just can't do it. Oh, well, thank you for such a thorough explanation. You see, counsel, when you act without thinking, the result is a bloodbath. Back to the witness testimony, please. If you still did have a motive for taking.
Hold it. Attention.
Okay.
Hold it.
Did I press this? Yeah. Okay. No. So I have the man was murdered. Not that. So what? I literally don't know what. It's not. So how? No, I'm getting stuck on the first case. No. Did have a motive. So. And this is, I know I pressed this already. It wasn't this, so. Well, it's time to go Hail. Let's throw out a Hail Mary. I don't actually know. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. I missed something. Parent didn't have a motive.
Objection!
No. 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 Okay, so let me go over. Maybe I'm missing something. Go to the pen. I did that. Did that. I think Crispy Robbins is there. Anywhere. It's a pen, but it looks to be out of ink. Yeah, I got that. No. Ah, okay. So yeah, here we go. This is the connection. No, I did that though. I did do that though.
Objection!
Nope. 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 Uh. Dude, I can't remember. I can't remember. Hold on. Building a blazer. Is it this?
Objection!
There you go. There's no really good reasoning. No, there's one possibility. Yeah, because the thing we had the poison. He was poisoned on one very good reason why the defendant might have decided to withdraw the knife from the victim's wound. What? Ah, the yokel not only has a poor grasp of the law, but is also a poor loser. Tell us, what's this possibility do you think you've identified? If it's here in this newspaper article. An article about a deadly poison having been stolen from a laboratory at the Imperial Human Uni.
Objection!
The victim perished from a stab wound. The poison has no relevance in this case. But Prosecutor Alchi, you will let the defense speak. But a newspaper article, the court cannot rely on that kind of hearsay those wretched publications carry. Counsel for the defense. I am going to need some tangible basis for your claim. You will indicate the court precisely what part of the newspaper article mentioned affirms your assertion. Your Excellency. Yes, of course. Thank you. Ray would never have done something to further endanger Miss Brett's life without just cause. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife from the victim's body is explained in where it says, what section is it? Wait a little minute. Oh, which one is more? Yeah, and she had the cute, and she had a cute. Yeah, it's this. So it's the last one. I don't know. Right. Oh, wait. Was it the last one? Wait. Hold on. Busy pulled and stolen. Deadly tiny colonies. And then. Or maybe a deadly and tiny qualities. The article reveals that the following property about the poison in question. When the toxin enters the body on a nice knife laced with the poison, it is rapidly absorbed and causes death in minutes. Are you suggesting if the knife used to attack Miss Brett was laced with this very poison, it would explain why it was the defendant Membani-san would have withdrawn the blade as soon as possible? Yes, the truth is, it was an attempt to stop the poisoning from entering the victim's body. What? But there was no poison in her system.
Objection!
This is complete and utter nonsense. Yeah, it took me way too long to figure that out. Not at all. The defendant withdrew the knife blade from the victim's body not to accelerate the woman's demise, but to save her life, and the prosecution cannot deny the possibility. Have you not read the post-mortem report? The cause of death was hemorrhage. The word poison does not appears nowhere in the document. Well, that's because I acted quickly to remove the blade. The defendant prevented the poison from taking hold.
Objection!
Oh please, this is clearly desperation. The weasel's last breaking of wind. The poison has nothing whatsoever to do with this case, as I believe the defense is well aware. We have no proof that the information in this wretched newspaper article is all reliable anyways. In that situation, what the student should have done is wait for medical assistance to arrive. But instead, you claim she suspected the poison and took the lethal decision to remove the blade. You must have had a strong reason for her suspicions then. Or the argument makes... Exactly. Well put, Inspector. On what grounds did she do it, Yoko? Why did race with the stolen players was involved? If you want the grounds, I'll give you grounds. You can't possibly. Mirroring Christian Council, it would appear those are not empty words. But naturally, as you just stand in this courtroom as a lawyer, you must be aware that words alone, empty or not, are of no value in our modern justice system. This court demands evidence. Yes, Your Excellency, I'm well aware of that. I've seen it many times from my place at his side in this Old Bailey. In that case, counsel, you will present the proof to the court now. What evidence demonstrates a clear link between his case and the poisoned newspaper? It's a thing.
Take that!
How she died. I would ask the court to refer to the notes section of the post-mortem report, which reads, extreme meiosis pupil constriction was observed in the victim. Ah! Clearly, being a yokel with no knowledge of forensic science, I have no idea, but please do tell me. Presumably, the fact that this condition of the victim was noted in the post-mortem report means that it's an unusual symptom of death. Well, under normal circumstances, the pupils dilate when someone dies. If there was extreme constriction instead, that's most certainly unusual, yes. What are you doing, you yokel detective? In the newspaper article, there is the following information about the stolen poison. Onset of symptoms occurs in minutes, ending with acute contraction of the pupils prior to death. What? If the defendant, upon seeing the victim stabbed in the back, happened to notice the pupils of Miss Brett's eyes had constricted severely, yes, as a medical research assistant, she would have intercepted poison immediately, without doubt. Prosecutor Archie, I think you'll agree. This is very compelling evidence. You yokel student and yokel professor! I believe the defense has expertly demonstrated a credible reason for the defendant's actions. No. Yujin Mikotoba? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe you are the best place here to confirm or deny the veracity of the defense counsel's argument. You will tell the court the truth about the details reported in the newspaper, please. It pains me to have to admit it, but I'm afraid I don't know. You don't know? The toxin we kept was kept under lock and key in my laboratory, certainly, but I was unaware of any theft. Do you mean to tell the court that the report of this theft are unfounded? No, Your Excellency. Without returning to the laboratory and to investigate myself, I couldn't say. Ah, listen to the bumbling academic. Unaware of the theft of secret state research from his own workplace until he reads of it in the newspaper. I take full responsibility for the incompetence of my supervision. Father. A pitiful situation for a university professor. You should have more control over your students, rather than allow them to off on killing sprees. That's totally unfounded. It's her. Hmm? None of this is Professor Mikotoba's fault. It's all my fault. Ray. And Bunny-san, you stand accused here. Outbursts like this would not be tolerated. But it was me. I was the one who noticed that the poison we were developing had been stolen that day. What? So you knew? I'd been placed in charge of overseeing the project. It was the day of the professor and Sasaki-san were interviewed together for the newspaper. That's when I noticed that some of the poison was missing. Just a tiny amount it was. Why didn't you let me know immediately? I was scared. The whole project was supposed to be confidential, but some of the toxin had meant some had been taken. So I decided I'd try to get it back before anyone else found out. Because I had a very good idea who the thief was. The thief? You don't mean? Yes, of course. It was that dainty English woman, Miss Giselle Brett. That's why I decided to join the little group of people going to the seaside. Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. But she just sat on the stool on the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me, as if she knew she was untouchable. I know it was you who stole the poison. Well now, whatever do you mean? And then, she suddenly got to her feet before falling to her knees in front of me and then collapsing on the floor. That's when I saw the knife in her back. What? So someone put the knife in her when she was sitting down at the back of the hut. I couldn't understand what had just happened. And then, a moment later, I was seized with fear. The pupils of her eyes they shrunk to tiny pinpoints. I don't believe it. In other words, you realize that the victim was suffering from the effects of the stolen poison? My mind started racing. I hadn't seen anything past Miss Brett's lip whilst I've been with her, which left only one possible way for the poison to have entered her body. On the blade of the knife in her back. And that okay, where is this knife at the train? And that thing I thought what spurred you to withdraw the blade? Yes, if the amount that had entered her bloodstream was small enough, you might still have a chance. That's what I hope. Really, I'm sorry for staying silent all this time. Uh-oh, that's kind of bad. Your attempt to hide the truth of what happened is not something that can be overlooked. However, I have duly noted the courage with which you would confess in the end. Thank you, Your Excellency. It's barely perceptible, but I do think the balance has shifted a little here in this courtroom now. Your Excellency, do not be deceived. The victim just collapsed before your eyes. You say? Well, Mbani-san, if that's the case, perhaps you can explain how Miss Brett came to be stabbed. That's just, you have no answer because the simple truth is that you stabbed the victim, but you hear the thing? She was stabbed in the back, but she came in to confront her. So how did she get behind her?
Objection!
You have no conclusive evidence to prove that assertion, do you? Oh, I have evidence. and it's very much conclusive. What's the prosecution counsel up to? It was brief, but he hesitated for a moment there. I was almost sure of it. You will produce the aforementioned evidence at once, Prosecutor Alchi. Perhaps some praise is due, young yokel student. What? I imagine there will be no need for me to submit this evidence. But you brought this on yourself. What the? Could a more damning shot exist? Oh, it was okay. So okay, I already know it was who it was. It's the thing. It's his article. It's the newspaper guy. He's the one who stabbed her. Could a more damning shot exist? The cruelty in the air on that beach is almost palpable. It was the camera. He was behind there. His evidence, more than any other, reveals the true extent of the accused murderous nature, where it shows the precise moment that Mbani-san plunged her dagger into the victim. That's not the dagger. No, that's not true. No, I don't believe it. Ah, that's not a knife. It's the vial. Order. Counsel for defense. Was it you who was responsible for that still scream that just pierced my courtroom? And perhaps his voice is yet to break? These yokels are slow-minded and slow to mature. I'll show you who's slow to mature. Careful now. Susato is trying to show her face here. It is as often said that a picture worth 1,000 words, and here we have an ample proof. The court will accept this extremely cognate photo as evidence. I can't believe he had a photograph like that up his sleeve the entire time. But there's something wrong with it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's not a knife. But what I would say is how did she knock her down? That's what I want to know. She said she was sitting. Just a stark image. I'm genuinely lost for words. Wait a minute. I don't understand. How did you? I mean, who took that photograph? Huh? Ray?
Objection!
I don't have to tell you that. That's no importance here. Stop trying to divert attention. Oh.
Objection!
That's an absurd thing to say. It's crucially important. Whoever took this photograph print was a witness to the Miss Brett's death. The court must be allowed to hear this person's testimony. Ah, that's what he didn't want. Yeah. I will uphold the defense's demand. The prosecutor will reveal the identity of the person responsible for taking this photograph at once. Well, I'm afraid I can't do that. Pardon? You see, this print arrived at the Imperial Police Bureau headquarters by express post yesterday, but there was nothing to indicate the sender's name or address. The provenance of the print is unknown. Goodness, you're saying you... So an anonymous person sent that? Read to understand then, counsel, that in full knowledge of the fact that this photograph has the murkiest of origins, you never let believe it to fit for submission as evidence into Supreme Court? When you first produced that print before, I noticed that you hesitated for a brief moment, because you knew that it wasn't completely reliable evidence, didn't you? Silence, you yokel student and blabbering professor. What matters is the blatant truth that this print eloquently expresses. But this defendant has already admitted to pulling the blade from the wound. Just because you see, this doesn't mean that you put it in there. Clearly, this isn't the moment the knife was plunged into the victim's back, but the moment it was withdrawn. Don't waste this court's time with your ramblings. Indeed, without knowledge of who produced this print, we have no means of verifying the claim, and the scene of the captures without the most compelling evidence presented to the court. The defense is unable to shed any further light on this matter. I believe the court's conclusion is clear. No. Susato, this is the time for you to fight. If what you've established so far is true, then there can be no doubt. This photograph shows the moment that Ray withdrew the blade from the victim. Yes, if we just need to prove that somehow. Just you'll have plenty of time to rue your defeat on the slow train back to the provinces. And to rue the day you came up against Taketsuchi Aochi in the court of law. If I can't determine who took this photograph, then the trial is going to come to an end. There must be a clue somewhere. There must be some way of working out who took it. Well, Counsel, we know. Your Excellency, the burning question is who took that photograph. And the truth is, I have the answer. I have the answer. This isn't about whether I can or can't come up with an answer now. I simply have to. The identity of the person who took the gigantic photograph print is, I assure you, something the defense can and will reveal. What? No, you can't possibly. But as you so boldly claim that you can, please, do enlighten us. Unfortunately, I'm unable to present a name. How utterly underwhelming. Did you really believe you couldn't? However, I am able to present evidence. The defense has a piece of evidence that reveals the important details about the photographer's identity. A what? Very well then, Counsel. Present your proof to the court. Which piece of evidence do you claim reveals something about the identity of Mr. It's this one. Like that! What is this? The newspaper again? Raka's English returnees tell all. It's not the headline that's relevant here, Your Honor, Excellency. It's the photograph. If you look at it closely, you'll notice that there's some white lines on the right-hand side. Ah, yes, indeed. It had already caught my eye, as it happens. Ha, what of it? Shadow of some kind, presumably? From the branches of a tree or the like? No, there are no trees growing inside my laboratory at the university. I can assure you. Now, if you look closely at this photograph. Oh, good gracious! The same lines can be seen. Yes, exactly the same pattern of lines is present on this photograph too.
Attention!
Well, that tells us nothing. Ah, yes, it's the shadow of some kind, definitely from the branches of the tree. Nope, there wouldn't be any trees growing inside the hut at the beach, Counsel. Ugh. What's quite remarkable about it is that the two patterns are absolutely identical. How could such an extraordinary similarity have transpired? The curious matching pattern that appears on both photographs is a result of a camera defect. Obviously, it must be due to a problem with the camera used to take the photograph. With the photographic device? Yes. We can confidently say that the camera's lens must be scratched. That and the scratched lens has caused unwanted lines to appear on every print taken with the device. In short, the two photographs under consideration here were taken with the same camera. But there must be hundreds of such camera devices here in the capital. It would be utterly impossible to identify the owner of this particular one. Nope, someone here knows who it is. I think you're forgetting, Professor Aochi, that one of the photographs featured in a newspaper article. A newspaper? Ha! So that's right. The author of the article is a mystery witness to this crime. What? What? Oh, she's tall. I think she's... Eh? Saseki. I see why you were called a Raka's England returnee. What are you yelling about? You already testified. Many memo, I tell you. Many memo. Memo. Saseki-san? What was that? Did you say many memo? Ever since I returned to Japan, a reporter from the Shoyu News has been hounding me, following my every move. A reporter by the name of Raiten Many Memo. Yes, hounding me from dawn till dusk. Now that he mentioned it. Yeah, this guy right here. Oh! And you see, he got ink on his hands. You can see right there, he got right. He has some ink on his hands, so Uh-oh, we got our mystery criminal. Could that same reporter be? A camera to the left of him, a notebook to the right of him. There I am, stuck in the middle with it. Writing memo, many memo. So you're saying this picture was taken by... Yeah, many memo, yes. By my lord, your excellency Esquire. Officer, find this newspaper reporter at once and bring him to my courtroom. But we will now adjourn for our short recess in the meantime. Oh, yes, your excellency. As you say, your excellency. And one more thing. I want this knife, this murder weapon, examined for the traces of poison. You will solicit the assistance of the Imperial University Medical Department for the task. Understood? Meh. Ready, memo! Okay. Yeah, who cares, man? I'll keep that. 10:41 a.m. Supreme Court. Supreme Court adjudicature. I was watching the thing of this one. Sorry, drinking some. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Susato. I should have told you about the toxin. Ray. You have a strong sense of responsibility, I know. That's why you decided to shoulder the burden alone. No, that's not it at all. I was scared of my failure coming to light, that's all. So I hope to retrieve this substance from the Englishwoman before anyone found out. Before the trial started, do you remember what you said, Susato? That you had no doubt in your mind about my innocence? That you stand by me to the last? I remember. And yet I didn't deserve your trust in me. I hid important details from you, Susato. I completely betrayed your faith in me. I mean, hit me, Susato. I deserve it. No, in fact, throw me to the floor. No, that's too grand for me as well. Drag me to the city streets. Easy, I'm no better, you know. Oh? Even though in my heart I knew that you pulled a knife blade from Miss Brett's back, there was just a brief moment when, in my mind, I doubted you. Susato, I'm sorry. After I stood here and promised you that I would stand by you always and be on your side, I betrayed your faith in me too. And as such, I failed you as a lawyer. Oh, no, no, no. I think this situation has taught both of you a valuable lesson. Placing your unbridled faith in another is no easy task. Yes, Father. That fact has certainly struck home. Which is why I can see more clearly now. So, Ray, yes? Can you find it in you, your heart, to forgive me? Oh, Susato. You know you'll always be a gallant, dashing lawyer in my eyes now. Oh, Ray. I was so scared, you know, when it happened. I didn't know what was going on. The Englishman was sitting on the back of the hut, listening to what I was saying. I know it was you who stole the poison. Well now, Whatever do you mean? Yeah, because it doesn't make any sense. So the main contention is what that action was. Now whatever do you mean? Yeah, if anything, this series is show me is like, yo, if you see a dead body, do not touch it. And then a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet. Wait, what? Before collapsing to the floor in front of me with a knife in her back. Wait, she got stabbed and stood up and then fell down. It all happened right before my eyes. And you were there, the only people in the hut at the time. That's right. Just been Brett and myself. There was no one else. But you see, the other thing too is where he took that picture from. It looked as to be right behind the hole. There's a hole in the thing in the bathhouse for hentai. That means pervert, by the way. So I just don't understand how she could possibly have been stabbed like that. For peeping toms, better. A great mystery indeed. I still can't believe it happened. That's why I just couldn't bring myself to speak up. That would be all right. However it happened, and whatever really went on by that sea that day, I promise you that I'm going to prove everything you saw is true. Spoken like a true Mikotoba. Now, I think we should discuss what's coming up in the trial, don't you? We don't have much time. We must make sure we have our facts in order. Yes, I expect the poison is going to come under close scrutiny in the upcoming proceedings. The police should be hopefully have identified it on the blade by now. The trouble is, it's a completely new laboratory synthesis a blend of alkaloids. The police won't have any way of testing for it. Oh, I see. Yes, without this chemical reagent, it's impossible to detect with the toxin. Chemical reagent? I sent a colleague of mine off with some earlier to deliver to the police headquarters. I think perhaps you should have some as well, though, just in case. Chemical reagent. What's the matter, Susato? You're suddenly very quiet. Quiet. Hold on, let's examine this. Anything with the label appears written in a foreign language that I don't know. It's German, so your knowledge of English is going to be a little helpier, I'm afraid. Couldn't you have just written medicine on it in Japanese? Maybe I'll be able to read it. German is the international language of medicine, my dear. But yes, I can certainly see the merit in labeling the bottle in Japanese. Though I'm not sure medicine would be entirely appropriate. That's it. Okay. It's this newspaper article. Exclusive. Deadly poison stolen from Yuma Research Laboratory. Yeah, how did they know about that? Who wrote this? Who wrote this? I wonder how the information got out, given that it was a government secret. It was all the Englishman was doing. What? It was when the professor and Sasaki-san were being interviewed at the laboratory. That so-called English swaned in and without any compunction sent to Professor Mikotoba. Oh, Professor, surely your guest would love to hear about your work on that substance here. It put me in a very awkward position, to be frank. But Sasaki-san's curiosity had been piqued, so I had little choice but to give him a cursory introduction. So then, Sasaki-san knew about the poison? Yes, and it's highly likely that the reporter who was writing out the story about us would have a glimpse of the toxin too. This Many Memo-san. By the way, did that reporter join you at all when you went to the beach? Oh, no, I don't remember the reporter being there. So he was hidden. Indeed, you shouldn't have been. I very much doubt anyone would have wanted him there. Oh? A known criminal had been given permission by the authorities to bathe by the seaside. Sasaki-san pointed out that a Vanna reporter might be problematic, so the man was sent back to his office. Yet he obviously didn't go back. He secretly followed the party to the beach and took this very candid photograph. And then, by presumably, he posted it anonymously to the police. Ah. Yes, that must be what happened. Counsel, you just heard that the news witness is now ready to testify. The trial is about to resume. Please proceed into the courtroom at once. It's time to steal ourselves once again then. Defense attorney, Ryutaro Naruhodo. Yes. Ray has put her faith in me now and told me everything. I can't lay her down. I have to prove that what she's telling me the court is true. I have to prove that what really happened that day. Picture. I hereby call this court to order as we reconvene to continue the trial of Ray Membani. Prosecutor Ulchi, have you examined a new witness? Before I address that question, Your Excellency, I have some very important news to share. Oh? What news? Why does he look so happy about it? During the recess with the collaboration with Professor Nikita's laboratories in Yume University. The police re-examined the knife that was used in the end of Miss Jezile Brett's life. Excellent. I admire your rapid handling of the matter. Oh, too kind, Your Excellency. Too kind. I was merely carrying out your instructions, of course. I had to read you delivered to the police headquarters by Richard, so it'll be there in good time. But judging by the man's swagger, I fear we might need to brace ourselves for the inevitable. No poison. Oh, we haven't that part. The knife hasn't. And counsel, what were the results? The dagger, which was so cruelly used at the end the life of the victim, has no trace of poison anywhere along its blade. What? You sure about that? They staked the reputation of the police on it. Armed with the region, the test is extremely simple. They couldn't have made a mistake. It's short. The accused people excused earlier. Ah yes, this must be the victim's blood. Oh dear, blood is never a pretty sight, is it? I haven't felt the urge to run it under a hot tap and get it clean. You always seem to be fastidious about cleanliness, haven't you? I think this is something else, Father. Any discernible things about it? No. The accused people excused earlier has been utterly destroyed. Ah, that's bad. That's very bad indeed. Now the prosecution did why, but that doesn't change the fact that her thing dilated, or just not dilated, constricted. Now the prosecutor is ready to call the new witness. Ah, the newspaper reporter who managed to capture the photograph of the crucial moment. Good. Very well, officer. Bring in the witness. Now, no trace of poison in the knife. But if that's really the case, how could the toxin have entered the victim's body? Yeah, then how did it? Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. Raiten Menenimo of the Shoyu News. How many people like to call a journal? What's a journal, Father? Do we know? It's simply a contraction of journalist. I'm there where the news breaks, putting a pen to paper to catch the scoops so they're print in the next morning. They don't call me the hero of the Herald for nothing. The nice guy of news. Oh, so was it you who took this photograph? Was it? Well, what have we here? I'm sorry. Oh, brace yourselves, people. Menenimo senses a scoop in the offing. Female student up to foul play, defended by curiously handsome young lawyer in Supreme Court. The reader will lap this up. We're set above the fold at 75. Huh? Right then. Let's start with your name. Oh, it's Ryutaro Naruhodo. Next, what made you want to become a lawyer? Well, I wanted to reform our country's legal system, I suppose. Ryutaro has suddenly become very ambitious, I see. I just borrowed Cosmos that was dreamed for a while. By the way, my name is Takesushi Ochi. If that's Takes, don't care. This goes called Dark Horses of the Supreme Court. My objection strikes fear into every defense lawyer's heart. Not interested, bro. You're like, no, the readers won't buy that. What? Witness. Yes. What this court demands to know is whether or not you were responsible for taking of this picture. It was deliberately anonymously to the Imperial Police Bureau only yesterday. Yeah, that wouldn't be a journal if I didn't click winning. If I didn't click with a president with a scoop like that now, would I? Sometimes stories call out to me, sometimes I have to chase them down. But either way, you gotta be fast. Fast legs to run with, and fast hands to write with. If you know good if you don't note it down, I always say. That's what I call my memoism. Memoism. Ah, yes, I remember your face. We met that day when you were interviewing myself in Soseki-san. Ah, yes, right, that was me. Many memo again. But you were supposed to be going back to the Shoyu news office after our meeting. And the scoop is, I didn't. Because that Englishwoman's word had piqued my journalistic interest. Miss Brett's words. Wait, what's his name? Hold on, what's his name? Oh, that's his knife. That's his pen. Oh, that's why. That's his pen. They have the same initials, RM and RM. Oh, wait, he's older than both of the. Wait, what the heck? He's almost as old as her dad. Yeah, that's his pen. A criminal left to do as he pleases just because he happens to be a British citizen. It's horse dung. This country's judiciary is rotten to the core. The Supreme Court's rulings aren't worth the paper they're written on. The police are just imperial prawns. Say your tongue, young man. There are complex political issues at play. Well, anyway, I quickly jotted down those words. He said, many memo pad. Are you ready? I'll read it out. It's all here. Right, here goes. I should like to go out with everyone to see their country's coast. I see this criminal going on a junket. On some junket. The people need to know about this. That's why I decided to sneak after them. To get the woman's story so I can hammer in her press. So I can hammer her in the press. Do you mean to say that you did indeed witness it firsthand? The grim scene portrayed in this photograph? Oh yes, I saw it with my very own journal eyes, from start to finish, with the viewfinder of my trusty camera. Thank you, Mr. Memo-san. We will now give a formal testimony before the court. You will state exactly what it is that you witnessed of the events surrounding Miss Brett's death. The beach of the wave was some shoddy old green screen, so there were plenty of glass I could see inside. The Englishwoman was sitting on a stool when the student girl came in and started arguing with her. Seconds later, the girl pulled a knife, throwing the image to the floor, stabbing her, and as he stabbed her in the back. My swollen journal screen burst into flame. Quick as I flashed, I went to my counter ready to click. I pulled up the rough weave of one of the screens and poked my lens through for the perfect start. Read screens, you say? Great. You can see them clearly through that great shot I snapped. The hot walls were just screens but made of coarsely woven reeds. Yes, these allows the breeze to pass through and bring some relief from the summer heat. And it was a breeze for me to put my camera through and see what the whole thing hotting up. Ignoring for the time being the appalling invasion of privacy involved, Did you witness everything that happened from this moment to the to enter the hut? Oh yes, I saw it. The whole thing from start to finish. And you say that you took the photograph through a gap in one of the screens? Luckily for me, they were pretty shoddily woven. I pulled the beads apart and thrust my lens of the camera through the gap. What would I get away with? Would I get away with it? Or what have I seen? It was a gamble of a lifetime. A tenacity of purpose that's considered admirable in a journalist, I suppose. Run a risk one day, run a scoop the next. That's a many memoism in a nutshell. Alas, it would appear we have a genuine witness to this wicked crime. The evidence and the testimony are extremely compelling. I believe we may close to a verdict. No, no. Wonderful news, Your Excellency. Wonderful. Nevertheless, it cannot be denied that this testimony begs one very large question. What question? Exclusive news, a startling photograph, all the makers of an exceptional story for the reporter. Why then was the story never published? Oh, that's right. It seems clear to me that there are circumstances that play here that are yet to be understood. Ha! More pathetic excuses. Very well then, counsel. Proceed with your cross-examination. Yes, Your Excellency. There is more to this reporter that meets the eye. He is keeping something about this case very close to his chest. Cross-examination. The camera never lies. The camera doesn't lie, but the person holding it can. It reads, I can see inside the gap. The Englishwoman was sitting on the stool when the 2 minutes started arguing with her. Later, the girl pulled out a knife.
Hold it!
Do you swear before this court that you actually saw the precise moment when the stabbing took place? Ha! The precise moment? I didn't see just that. I saw the whole hellish scene play out from start to finish. I have here the simple plan of the beach hut. Perhaps you can use it to explain to the court exactly what you witnessed. Uh-oh. Right you are. It's all here in my memo pad. Memo pad. So, when I first appeared into the hut, I'm sure that was an Englishwoman was on the stool at the back of the hut here. Yes, the accused's own testimony confirmed that. He just sat at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly, as what I have noted down. It's my turn to testify now. Try not to interrupt. Then, the next moment, as I was watching, the evil student girl entered the hut. After a while, the pair of them ended up in the middle of the hut, arguing furiously. The Englishwoman went for the student, but the girl dodged out the way. In a flash, she plunged the knife into their adversary's back as the two passed each other. What you described as a grim scene and grim crime indeed. Never sugarcoat the truth. That's what the many memoism says. By the way, many memo son, whilst you were watching that terrible scene unfold before your eyes to the gap in the screen, did it not occur to you to try to prevent the tragedy rather than capture it on your film? Journals have to be observers. We can't get involved. That's a raison d'etre. So you didn't converse with Miss Brett at all? Obviously not. An observer always remains on the outside looking in. And that's something to be proud of, is it? Your Excellency, if I may. Yes, Professor? I think the witness's last expertly phrased statement should perhaps be added to his formal testimony. Father, what do you... I will grant the defense's request. Memo-san, your will supplement your formal testimony with the aforementioned statement. Well, nihilism is the foundation of many memoisms, but like that prove that my words aren't meaningless. I never once set foot in the hut nor spoke with an Englishwoman. Only there was an observer. Never set foot on or spoke. Never set foot and never. Hmm. So it's this. I never once set foot in the hut. No, it can't be that. It can't be that. It can't be that. I think it's too early for that, but I'm gonna try it. Yeah, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it.
Objection!
Oh, it was that. Okay, it was that. I mean, many memo-san. Until now, I've had a firm belief that newspapers are in the business of uncovering and publishing the truth. You're spot on there. The press doesn't lie, which is why I'm proud to wear the emblem of Show You News on my arm. In a way, that's more many memoism. Sadly, though, it seems the journalists who write for those papers don't always share the same passion for the truth. What? What are you suggesting with those recriminatory words, Counsel? The memo, Sam. Do you recognize this fountain pen? Ah! This pen was found at the scene of the Miss Brett's death. In fact, she was clutching it in her hands. In fact, the murder victim was gripping it in her hand as she died. What are you? If you look at the barrel of the pen, you'll notice that it says owner's initials are engraved in here. RM. Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Counsel. The initials of the accused, Ray Membami. Is it a coincidence? I wonder. Writing that your initials are also RM. Oh no. Writing many memo. RM. That's horse dung. Can't you see? One of the central tenets of many memos is being a pencil user. You got ink on your hands, man. And yet, as the court will clearly be able to see, on your right hand, there is a very obvious blue ink stain. It would appear that you must have rather carelessly left it somewhere recently. Your favorite fountain pen, that is horse dung. Many memo-san, is it not the case that before she died, you met with Jezza Albert in that beach hut?
Objection!
Why would she listen to this absurd nonsense? It's nothing but another excuse. Exactly. Show You News will stand behind me all the way. I deny everything. There must be as many people with initials RM as there are stars in the night sky. His vet has neither the time nor the inclination to count every star in the sky. And there is no need anyway, because this pen has more to tell. Yes, there's another clue. A clue that undeniably proves who his owner really is. Oh, it's the emblem. The emblem on the pen is this thing. Is the same emblem as the thing. Of course, Your Excellency. The clue on this fountain pen that clearly reveals his owner than he is. As well as the initials, there is also an emblem on this fountain pen. An emblem that you will, of course, recognize. Many memo-san. Oh goodness me. It's the emblem of the Show You News. Show You News. So in other words, the owner of this pen is an employee of the Show You News whose initials are RM. Suddenly, the stars in the night sky don't seem so numerous, do they? Well, Many Memo-san, how do you respond? No! Uh-oh, somebody's in trouble. Order. Explain yourself, witness. So, this is how the mighty Supreme Court works, is it? Using coercive tactics to have well-meaning citizens reveal harmless secrets. Coercive tactics? What are you talking about? I've used nothing but honest tactics. All right, then. Fine, I won't try to hide it anymore. Yes, not long before the grim tragedy unfolded, I, a showy news reporter, on behalf of the public, conducted an interview with the Englishwoman. An interview? You never mentioned this before. Tell all, when exactly was this? As I said, it was before that evil little student girl showed her face at the hut. I couldn't have it lasted more than 2 or 3 minutes, that's all. It was all just a brief exchange. But it came to nothing. And as we many memoirs say, that people who don't pay their dues for unworthy news. However insignificant you're deemed it to be, this court cannot overlook the meeting between yourself and the victim. You will testify now under oath about the precise nature of this meeting and what transpired. Got it. Yes. All right. But on one condition, in all good conscience, I couldn't speak out alone about this. You need to call back the earlier witness, Soseki Natsume-san. So Soseki-san? Oh yes, according to my notes here, that man has a secret of his own, and brace yourself. It's not a harmless one, it's big. What? Many memoirs say that one man's secret is every other man's front page story. Very well, I will grant the witness's request in this instance. Some of the earlier witness back to the stand. Soseki-san is hiding something? He's hiding something. What could he possibly be hiding? Oh, I'm getting hungry, so I'm gonna eat a snack. The witness's secrets. I asked this woman for an interview, but she declined. I left the hut without making a fuss. Then, watching secretly from the outside, I saw the women being stabbed and the other witnesses come running. The detective realized that the victim still had a pulse, so he ran out to fetch help. That's when this writer man here asked the woman a very significant question. But he didn't say anything about that in his testimony, which is why many memoirs and demands that I reveal it now. So what did he say? Hold on, one second. You mean to say the victim regained consciousness? Well, and when you decided to ask her a question? That's true. Yes. He did, and that's not all. The woman gave me a very definite answer, an answer that incriminates the accused. This is preposterous. Why am I only hearing about this now? Why didn't you mention this before, you yokel hack? It wasn't even a conversation. Yes, I did pose the withering English roll question. I don't deny it. But she could no longer speak. She was barely conscious, even. Counsel for defense, I expect a thorough cross-examination to be conducted here. The court must and will know the truth. Absolutely, Your Excellency. The reporter is claiming that Miss Brett implicated Ray somehow. What on earth could have happened in that hut? The witness's secrets. Okay. Picking the silver at first, so. Yeah, so.
Hold it!
What is it? Just like you sound. Are you trying to hide something? Don't look at me like that. Joseki-san, you must tell the court everything that happened. Well, in truth, I've been catching crabs at the water's edge and building castles in the sand, you see. Well, the seaside is the place to be at leisure, I suppose, even for grown men. But then all of a sudden from Richa, I heard a young girl's panicking cries for help pierce the air. Right? I ran to the beach to see what the hell was happening, to find the defendant leaning over the collapsed victim. As soon as the inspector Fusunaga saw Miss Brett on the ground, he sprinted off to get help. And then, just a moment later, I heard a faint moan, a moan from the dead Englishwoman. I nearly jumped out of my skin. What did you ask her, Seki-san? I asked her, who did this to you? Don't protect us any longer. How did the woman respond? She didn't. She said nothing in response. But when you stand in, when in the stand, you will answer questions asked of you unambiguously. Now, without evasion or reticence, I demand that you amend your testimony. I will.
Hold it!
He never replied. He tried to find out who the culprit was. He who asks questions is a fool for a minute. He who does not remains a fool forever. And having been labeled a criminal twice during my time in Great Britain, twice. I was quick to make up my mind, twice. Better to be a fool for a minute than remain a fool in prison forever. However, you indicated the victim failed to respond. Is that correct? I know why. I know why the Englishwoman said nothing. He was ignoring me because of my stoop and my mustache because I'm Japanese. Oh dear, it's just like he's not really good. Has really developed a dislike for the English, it seems. I haven't read the report on his time in Great Britain. I can't really say I'm surprised at his xenophobia. The Englishman didn't ignore you at all, did she, Mr. Writer Man? Huh? Well, yes, all right. He did respond in a manner of speaking, I suppose. He just lifted her trembling finger and pointed at the defendant.
Hold it!
Miss Brett pointed a finger at the defendant. So Seki-san, is that really true? Is that really true? It's not easy to stand here and say this, but when we first entered the beach on the hut, the Englishwoman was sprawled on the floor before us, and with the student girl standing on the far side of her. When I asked her who did this to you, the Englishwoman summoned her last ounce of strength to point the trembling finger at the back of the hut, which it can't be denied the direction of the student girl who stands the accused today, but who was also standing there. No. So Seki-san, why on earth did you neglect to mention this in your original testimony? But fiddlesticks, I say. This is not a British court of law. You will respond in Japanese. Yes, of course. Yes, of course. The Englishwoman did point her finger towards the back of the hut, but I was trembling, and she was trembling, and everything was a blur. And to thinking about it, I feel as though perhaps she was pointing in a slightly different direction. Actually, no, not slightly, in a very different direction to where the student girl was standing. To somewhere to the back of the hut where nobody was standing at all. You mean that your memory of events, the direction in which the victim was pointing, are both unclear? Yes, that's it. Unclear. Very. I'm very, very unclear. It was she was pointing at him. Your Excellency, surely this proves matter beyond a reasonable doubt. Yes, the woman may barely have been conscious, and yes, perhaps her finger wavered slightly, but there can be no doubt that this was an attempt by the victim to confirm the identity of her assailant. Why? Because the court can see there's no other men than the accused in the direction. No, that's not true. It's now abundantly clear that no one besides the accused could have possibly committed the crime. I am inclined to agree, and in the absence of any credible argument to the contrary, I believe we can now conclude this trial. No. No! The headline's writing itself. Dashing lowers Hope's stage stats. 92 points across the whole page. We'll do an extra edition. This is a serious blow, Susato. Unless we're able to identify the true culprit and substantiate our claim with evidence. The judge will give his ruling, and the trial will be over. But that's impossible, Father. We don't even know how the crime was committed yet. Impossible though the task may seem, we have no choice. We must think back over everything we've learned thus far. Somewhere in all those details, I'm confident we'll find a clue we need. Gray gave us the account how the hunters pulled the defense antechamber before the trial resumed. She tells us what happened at the precise moment Miss Brett was killed. She was sitting down. The Englishwoman was sitting in the back of the hut, listening to what I was saying. And then, a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet. Before collapsing on the floor in front of me, with the knife in her back. How could Miss Brett have been stabbed in the back in a beach hut that was emptied for herself and Ray? Somewhere amid all the information we gathered so far, there must be an answer. Well, no, he was back there. I take it that the defense has nothing further to add. So the gallant Yoko student Lux finally runs out. I can't say I'm surprised. In that case, I'm ready to deliver my final verdict on this matter. This is a crucial turning point now. If I can't establish what really happened, it's over. Where was the real culprit heading? And how did he or she stab the victim? I know how.
Objection!
Your Excellency, I respectfully ask you to postpone your adjudication for the time being. Oh? To what end, counsel? The defense would like to present the court with an alternative theory. An alternative theory that can explain who the victim was actually trying to implicate with her dying gesture.
Objection!
An alternative theory? Ha! None exists.
Objection!
Yes, there is. There was someone else present at the scene who could have committed this crime. What? And the victim, Miss Brett, tried to reveal who it was to us around, who it was to those around her at the time, by mustering all her remaining strength and pointing at trembling finger in the killer's direction. This is fiction, fantasy. Very well. As you seem so sure of yourself, counsel, I am prepared to hear your alternative theory. So, young Ryutaro Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency? You will present your latest theory to the court by means of this plan. At the moment the victim was stabbed, where exactly were your culprit was concealed? Right here.
Take that!
Naruhodo-san would never give up. And I'm Naruhodo. I'm a Naruhodo now. I have a new tattoo. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. The true couple who fairly stabbed Miss Brett was concealed in this location here. Are you mad, Counsel? You're suggesting that the culprit was outside the hut? What? But we have proof that there was someone outside the room. Order, order, order. But soon the Lord Naruhodo Esquire. That makes no sense at all. You just pointed out the exact spot where I was hiding to get my scoop snapped. But I didn't see anything suspicious loitering about. I can swear to that. Obviously, if the culprit had been outside the hut, there is no way that she could have stabbed the victim who was inside the hut. What do you mean? Someone even testified themselves that it was very easy to put something through. Actually, Prosecutor Alchi, there is a way. And in point of fact, the defense can provide it strongly suggesting that it was precisely the way Miss Brett was killed. You're bluffing. You're bluffing. Yoko. The defense assertion is clearly too fantastical for the court to comprehend. You will need to give us more guidance, Counsel. What piece of evidence is corroborates your theory that it was victim outside the hut? Let me save. I'm pretty sure it's the picture. It's the picture.
Take that!
Well, I presented it now, but I haven't the first idea why I chose this piece of evidence. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, it's okay. It's there. It's there. Is this the original picture of the crime scene? Yes, it's clearly visible in this print. The trace of the fatal thrust that was delivered from the outside the beach hut.
Objection!
Do you take us for fools? There's no hint of any such thing. I'm not sure if everyone present would agree. Someone, at least, appears to have noticed what it is that I'm referring to. Counsel, once again, I must call on you to be explicit for the court. Where on this photograph is a trace of the stabbing, which you claim to take place from outside the hut? Take that! Take that! Look closely, just here. In the screen at the back of the hut, you can see the effects of a blade being forced through. No, I can't. I can't see any such thing. It's true that the hut in question has 4 walls, as you suspect. However, it was easy. By parting the reeds, a knife blade could easily penetrate them. It's extraordinary. Yes. The true culprit actually stabbed the victim from outside the beach hut. Ah. And of everyone present at the scene, there's only one person who could have done that. Only one person who was directly outside the hut when Miss Brett was killed. Write to many memo-san. It could only have been you. No!
Objection!
This preposterous idea leaves me almost speechless. Just look at the photograph again. The victim lies almost exactly in the center of the beach hut, does she not? Are we to assume as part of this fantastic experience this thing was a knife thrower?
Objection!
No, of course not. We're not? If we recall the testimony of the defendant about the events just before the victim's death. Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett, but she just sat on the stool on the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me as if she knew she was untouchable. A stool? Have another look at the photograph. The slit in the read screen is right behind the stool. It lied perfectly to the back of a person who was sitting on that stool. My word. So, in fact, the victim was killed while sitting on the left stool by a stab wound to her back delivered through the read screen. Having been attacked, Miss Brett rose to her feet instinctively, but then unable to speak, she collapsed to the floor in the middle of the hut before the defendant, Membani-san, appalled eyes. And that, Your Excellency, is the truth of what happened on the beach that day. By your silence, Memo-san, I take it that you don't deny the charge? This is absurd! That will do. It would appear that we have a tested admission of guilt from the witness. Accordingly, this court has successfully established the truth of the matter. It's not over yet, assuming the defendant, Membani-san, is innocent of the crime. Oh, thank goodness. I finally made him cave. I must say, I've never been more proud. No, this can't be. This Aoshi clan can't. What of my growth of hope? It wasn't at all a apparition. I can't accept it. I won't. I see no reason for the continuance of this trial. I will therefore move to conclude proceedings by delivering my final verdict. Yeah, he's not giving up, obviously. We still haven't used the regent. Ha 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 ha. Well, this is all very convenient. This is how the highest court in our mighty empire delivers justice, is it? Suppressing well-meaning citizens' freedoms to speak and branding them as criminals? But we've established that the victim was stabbed from the outside the hut through the reed screen walls, and no one but you was in the place at the time to have his hand on the hilt of the blade. It's a perfectly logical deduction. So your argument hinges on the location of whoever stabbed the Englishwoman, does it? Well, it seems a little irrelevant now. Irrelevant? Where she was stabbed? How she was stabbed? It doesn't matter. I mean, whether she was stabbed at all or makes no difference if you think about it. After all, the trial has already shown the whole thing hinges on something else. What? What are you talking about? Brace yourselves, little man. I'm talking about the fact that everything's changed because of the dirt you dug up. What? Enough obscurity. Explain yourself, witness. What's to explain? I'm talking about the poison, of course. The poison? Let's ask for the professor for a comment on the situation, shall we? I understand that the deadly poison you were developing was stolen from your laboratory, correct? It has been shown that this poison was administered to the victim, Miss Brett. Is that right? That's correct. The usual constriction of the victim's people are sure to sign that the particular poison was used. I see. So, presumably that means that the victim already had the poison in her body before she was stabbed. Given that her pupils were clearly constricted, it seems highly likely, yes. If she had been dead already, the poison could not have circulated in her blood. How refreshing to hear the argument of a metropolitan mind. Precisely, it matters not a jot who stabbed who stabbed whom and whose back and who with whose blade. Because, quite simply, the Englishwoman's life was taken by the knife, but by the poison.
Objection!
But that can't be explained by the poison being on the blade, as I already...
Objection!
The haha, forgotten already, have we? Yoko, during these very proceedings, the laboratory of the professor, your side assisted in proving that the blade of the weapon used to attack the victim had no trace of poison on it whatsoever. Ah. So let me get this down. The fact, as skillfully established by the defense in this trial, turned out to be a headline-making red herring. Is that about right? Well... Ah! Order. But where does this leave us? How, in that case, did the poison enter the victim's body? Let's examine the thing. What does it say? Oh, okay, it's just she got a taste of her own medicine via the mouth, your mouth, or via a wound from a poison laced blade. She was poisoned. Yeah. Wait, let me see. In that case, the poison entered the victim's body. There's an undeniably obvious answer to that. The lady most likely imbibed it. You mean she drank it? Have another look at the photograph here. As you can see, a bottle of carbonated water and a glass had been knocked onto the sandy floor of the beach hut. The poison could have been slipped into either. Somebody made Miss Brett drink it. Well, what do you know? Look at those dashing eyes. This will make a great front page shot. Hey, why the bewitching stare? After all, I'm the last person you should be looking at. It would make no sense at all that I poisoned a woman, would it? I mean, that's been established already.
Hold it!
Established? What are you talking about? Don't tell me you've forgotten. That's a little hard to believe, given the person who established it was you. Me? What on earth does it mean? That he was behind... Oh, let me capture those wide eyes. This is prime press fodder, this is? It would seem that this trial is not destined to end yet after all. I hereby call upon the witness to give further testimony. That's great, that is. Let me get a shot of that magnificent beard, Your Excellency. You claimed it to be impossible that you were the one responsible for administering the poison to the victim. You'll explain to the court in your testimony the basis upon which you make such a claim. I'm a journalist and I'm a man. I never tried to run or hide from anything in my life. And I'm not about to start now, because that's many memoism. For a brief moment, I thought I illuminated the truth, but it slipped right back into obscurity again. Just where is this trial going to take us? Complete innocence. Oh yes, I stabbed the Englishwoman, and that is that very fact that proves I'm innocent. Because why would I have mentioned to stab the woman if I already poisoned her? When I heard this girl and the English murderer arguing, it got my goat. If the courts weren't going to punish Brett for what she had done, someone else had to see justice be done. So you admit it then, that everything happened as I described. That you are the one who stabbed Miss Brett in the back through the read screen. You can blame this miserable country. You can blame this miserable country of ours. A country that bows to the pressure of a foreign powers and let murderers walk free. What kind of future can a country like that have? That's why I did it. I did what our pathetic leaders didn't have the guts to do. Slap bang in the middle of that charm lady's back, I plunged the blade of sweet justice right in there. As someone who spends his life seeing that the truth is told, I feel really, really awful about giving false information in my testimony before. But as it turns out, There was somebody else who had it in for the victim and got her before me. That's right. You guessed it. The pretty lady student girl. Now there's a woman after my own heart. You're implicating Ray again. He's the one who gave the poison to the English woman to enter her pitiful existence. But how? I suddenly snapped. This journal here is off the hook. The argument is sound, certainly. If the witness had administered the poison itself, he need only have waited for it to take effect. But how would she have? Wow, how would she do that? If thing was in the thing first, what time? Subsequently stabbing the victim in the back would have been entirely nonsensical, and therefore this report had nothing to do with the poisoning. Yes, it's all quite logical. That's right, it is logical and true. I'm glad you've seen it all. You've all seen the light. Justice is last. This is unbelievable. And after I made so much progress in proving his guilt, is he going to get away with it now? Think of Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san. They never stopped looking for a way forward until the judge's final gavel. Very well then, counsel. Proceed with what I assume to be your final cross-examination of this trial. Yes, Your Excellency. Complete innocence. Oh yes, I didn't stab the English woman. Okay, let's save. Bothered to stab the woman if I already poisoned her. Hold on. Any new evidence? I got my dope. I know exactly what they're arguing about. About what happened in that restaurant 9 months ago. And that's what? The student girl was laying it into the Englishwoman for killing her beloved mentor, Dr. Wilson. Yes, John H. Wilson, a professor of medicine, invited here from England by Professor Miko Tobo, no less. Right, but the Englishwoman just jeered. Her case was to be heard by the British consular court in Shanghai. However, there is little doubt that she would simply have been acquitted and sent back to her homeland a free woman. It was eating that student girl up inside. You can see it. I really felt for her. I can't stand here and listen to this tripe. Ray, young girl, you stand the accused here. You can't just blurt out whenever you feel like it. No, you can't. Sorry, but I'm in the middle of something very important testimony here. Just keep quiet and listen. But this is awful man is making all this up. Susato, please, you gotta return to the dock at once, Membani-san. We are in the middle of a cross-examination. Your Excellency, please, I implore you. The journalist is clearly not a trustworthy witness. Exactly, he's a filthy, rotten, black-hearted, bigoted, and great peeping Tom. Whoa, take it easy there. Please, I really think the court should hear what the defendant has to say. Your Excellency, I see no need whatsoever to entertain the accused remarks. I will grant the request of the defense. But, Your Excellency, this is likely to be the final cross-examination of these proceedings. As such, I believe it would be ill-advised to stifle the defense's obvious concerns. So, whilst recognizing this country's regular protocol, I hereby call upon the defendant to speak. Oh. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. It was nothing to do with Dr. Wilson. We were discussing the stolen poison. Where's going to
Hold it!
The stolen poison that killed the victim, you mean? I suspected her being the one to steal it. I mean, I just think about how she killed Dr. Wilson. That's true. Additionally, Miss Brett certainly had knowledge of the new poison. Surely it would be no easy task to steal a highly secret toxin developed for the government. Indeed, all visitors to the laboratory are thoroughly searched when they leave. Even if they manage to avoid being seen by myself or my colleague, getting the poison out would be very difficult. That's true. I pressured Professor Mikotoba until he agreed to show me the poison when I visited his laboratory. But as I left, I was searched from top to tail. Miss Brett rather bluntly revealed her existence of the toxin we've been developing, you see? And since Soseki-san expressed such an interest in it, I felt unable to refuse. Obviously, I gave nothing away other than the fact that it was an extremely potent substance. I'm very ashamed of myself. It's just that I've had a singularly terrible experience with a deadly poison. I wanted to look my old enemy in the eye. Surely you can understand that. To find out if my suspicions were true, I confronted Miss Brett about the poison. I told her that if there were to be an incident involving it, somehow it wouldn't just be the university. The military would be dragged into the whole government even. It would be a complete disaster. And how did Miss Brett respond to your concerns? She just curled those beautiful lips of hers and said she didn't know the first thing about it. In English? In English, actually. Yes. Many memo-san. One small question, if you don't mind. I do mind. Can't you see I'm busy? Clearly, you were outside the beach hut listening in whilst the defendant and Miss Brett were conversing. Presumably then, it was you who wrote this article about what you'd heard. Exclusive. Deadly poison stolen from UA Medical Research Laboratory. The story was published in this morning's edition of the Shoyu News. But the details are too accurate for it to have been written by anyone else. Sorry, don't know what you're talking about. Yes, look at this. The entire article is almost what I said to Miss Brett, word for word. Yeah. Well, many memo-san. As a journal and as a citizen of a free country, I don't have to reveal my sources. That's the founding principle of many memoism. Father's clearly right about this. That reporter did write that article, and he based it on what he overheard from outside. Oh, hold on. Oh, I think it says it's untraceable. Yeah, it says it's untraceable, but that's not true. Okay, so maybe we're gonna get a new fact about it based on what he overheard from outside the hut. Based on eavesdropping. So that's what this is all about. You were trying to cover up the fact that you were listening in. That's why you came up with this stinking story about me arguing with her. Shut up. My stories never stink. Look, whatever you say, little girl, doesn't alter the facts. Your Excellency, there's something I want to say, and I wanted to go on record. Very well. You may amend your formal testimony. The point is, if you poison someone, there's no reason to... Yes, there is. I think it's the... Because he didn't know, he didn't know that there was a regent. He didn't know about the existence of this.
Objection!
Well, I can think of one reason. What? 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 But before I explain, I'd like you to confirm something for the court. Did you glean all the information from this newspaper article from what you overheard outside the hut? Of course you did. There can be no question of that. After all, when we were all in the laboratory together, all we were told is that it was a terrible toxin. And there is one more important fact to consider. According to the witness, Membani-san's verbal attack against the victim began soon after she entered the hut. In other words, it would have been impossible for her to have slipped the poison into Miss Brett's drink.
Attention!
Where are you going with this, Counsel? Many memos had made it quite clear he observed. Here that he observed every single thing that happened in the beach hut. It's like it looks like the Addams family. No, yeah, what's his name? I forget his name. I was gonna say Morticia, but that's the wife's name, Morticia Addams. I think it's Gomez Addams. Yeah, I kind of see it. The defendant has somehow found an opportunity. This man would have seen it. Which means that Miss Brett couldn't have imbibed. That's how I think that's how he poisoned whilst the defendant was present. In fact, it must have been administered to her before Bonnie-san entered the hut. Yes, very articulately put. When I walked into the hut, I immediately... Oh, thank you for the follow, by the way. I appreciate it. When I walked into the hut, I immediately started to press Miss Brett about the poison. Why isn't it? At which point, many Momo-san overheard some worrying information. Worrying information? What worrying information? The information which he subsequently included in his newspaper article, namely, that the poison was being developed in strict secrecy and that it couldn't be readily obtained. Absolutely. In fact, that's quite an understatement. The only possible place it could have come from is my lab. And furthermore, anyone afflicted by the poison would exhibits telltale signs of death. The extreme constriction of the pupils, yes, is quite stark when you see it. There are other poisons that show similar symptoms, but not among new substances that are undetectable. In other words, it would be clear that the victim's life had been ended by the use of this particular poison, which would reduce the number of suspects to only a handful of people. Everyone in my laboratory is aware of the unique properties of the toxin we've been developing. None of them would be foolish enough to attempt to use it for some nefarious deed. And Bonnie-san is being no exception. Basically, be easily traceable to them. Therefore, we can conclude that whoever administered this unique poison to the victim was a layperson unaware of its telltale properties. In other words, someone like you write in many memo. Yeah. It was you who stole the poison from the laboratory that day, and it was you who administered it to the unwitting victim. But you quickly realized that was a terrible mistake, because the poison caused such unusual symptoms and was so traceable. As you listened from this far side of the beach's hut thin walls, you learned of these facts, but you'd already given the victim the poison at that point. It was too late, so you hatched a plan to disguise your mistake. A plan that involves stabbing the victim in the back through the read screen.
Attention!
Get him! Get him, Ryutaro. Isn't it obvious, Counsel? The plan was to kill Miss Brett before the poison could take effect. Once in the blood, the poison causes the onset of pupil constriction, but he has helped to precipitate the victim's death before that happened, hadn't he? Exactly. Because without any revealing signs of the new secret poison's use, no one would ever have suspected. This is extraordinary. Yep. Yes, the effects of the poison meant it would be too easily identified, so the killer had to mask its use, which he intended to do by plunging a knife into the middle of the victim's back. So yeah, basically because it was too, so it's being made in secrecy, so and only a handful of people knew about it. It was way too easily traceable to who could have done it. The argument presented is sound. The court is satisfied that it warrants consideration. Does the prosecution have a counter argument it wishes to put forward? Well, there are a number of, yes, I counter completely.
Objection!
The prosecution's evasive response clearly shows that in much the same way as he nurses the remnants of his top knot, he is clinging to lost hope. Lost hope. Hold it. Uh-oh. He ain't going quietly. Uh-oh. Ah, you pathetic, useless, fallen samurai. Uh-oh, he's crashing out of the thing. Homeboy. Useless, fallen samurai. Fallen? Who are you calling fallen? The burgeoning growth of so. I don't need a counter argument. What? What are you talking about? It should be blatantly obvious. I stole the poison, you say? Gave it to the victim, you say? Stabbed her, you say? Lots of fine theories. But I don't need a counter argument because you don't have an argument yourself. Where's your evidence? Yes, you make it all sound so plausible, don't you? But without evidence, it means nothing. Whereas I base my news on facts. Facts? What do you mean? Explain yourself. I mean, what the professor said earlier in this trial. It's all there, here, in my many memos, every word, every slip of the tongue, all noted. That's what the Show You News is famous for, the power of the printed word. There surely would be no easy task to steal a highly secret toxin being developed for the government. It's a pen. That's what was housing the poison. Indeed, all visitors to the laboratory are thoroughly searched when they leave. Even if they manage to avoid being seen by myself or a colleague, getting the poison out would be very difficult. How's that then? Blown the story wide open. See? I, write in many memo, a mere reporter for the Show You News, couldn't have possibly have stolen that poison from the professor's laboratory. Ah! But there can't be any question of it. He must have stolen that poison that day. He stole it and used it to kill. If that's the case, as you've identified, the poison itself is the definitive evidence we need. Because whoever stole it from the laboratory that day is the true culprit here. What's your point, you annoying, handsome country bumpkin? My point is this. There is one way that you, Many Memo-san, could have stolen the poison that day. Huh? I have heard enough about verbal conjecture now. Thank you. What the court must be shown is evidence. What proof do you have that this witness stole the poison on that day in question? Is this?
Take that!
The proof, Your Excellency, is this fountain pen. Ah! A fountain pen? How can that possibly be relevant? Easy, how do you get ink into a fountain pen? How can that possibly be relevant? These magical pens somehow seem to have enough ink to write many thousands of kanji characters. I believe they arrived in our country for the first time some 15 years ago now. Bah! I swear by weasel hair calligraphy brush and nothing else. These newfangled pens are merely a fad. Yeah. Well, as forward-thinking man of words, obviously I love my fountain pen. Suck of scorpion. soup con of sumptuous ink, and one's work is washed with words in the blink of an eye. That's right. Fountain pens have a small reservoir in the barrel, into which ink is sucked up through the nib of the pen or the white with later. What does the stock of sucking up ink have? Ah! And just as it's possible to suck the ink up into the reservoir, it's also possible to eject it through the nib again. Of course. My word. Can this really be? Well, Mini Memo-san. When you saw the deadly poison before your eyes in the laboratory that day, you used your phantom pen, your very lifeblood, to steal some of it, didn't you? By siphoning the poison up to the nib and into the pen's reservoir. Yeah! Get bogged.
Objection!
More absurdity. That never happened. Okay, do that. More absurdity. That never happened. True, we never even heard. True, we heard that there were procedures in place to prevent theft like this from the laboratory. But would anyone have thought to look inside a fountain pen of all places? No. I'm a little ashamed to say that, found for the fear of offending our guests, such a detailed search would not have been conducted. Well, this is quite startling, I must say. I remind the court that the pen was found in the custody of the victim's hand when she died. In other words, it was dropped at the scene by the Many Memo-san. So the crucial question is, when exactly was the pen dropped? How are you suggesting? The natural conclusion is that in your haste to act whilst the victim was distracted for a moment, you dropped the pen after you emptied the poison from her into her glass.
Objection!
There could be any number of alternative explanations. For example, the witness could have been using this pen to write down the details of the conversation with the victim. And when she's shocked by one of her outrageous answers, the pen fell from his quivering hand.
Objection!
No, that can't be. If it was, then how do you explain why the pen was devoid of ink? What? As you can see for yourself when you examine the evidence, there would appear to be no ink present in the reservoir. What newspaper reporter goes to an interview someone with nothing in his pen? No, the pen was dropped after the poison that filled the reservoir had been emptied into the victim's glass. Witness, what do you have to say in your defense? So this is how our modern justice system works, is it? So what if the ink in my pen runs dry? So what if my pencil snaps? I could always claw my way back into the game. I have plenty in reserve. Ah! He's crashing out. You claim I sucked the poison up into my pen? That's a wild speculation, nothing more. If you thought you could bring down a fine of standing criticism with a trick like that, think again. It looks as though it's going to take one final decisive blow to finish this matter. As I see it, the situation is now very simple. It rests upon whether or not the witness did indeed steal the poison that on the day in question. And therefore, it all depends on whether or not the defense can prove that he did with evidence. No such evidence possibly exists.
Objection!
Nope, they exist. Many Memo-san. This is how our modern justice system works. What? In the courtroom, evidence is everything. Something you would do well to remember, because we are well past the point of speculation at this stage, I assure you. Very well then, I call upon the defense to present the aforementioned evidence. This is it then. This will be the final piece in the puzzle. The defense can prove by means of this item that it was the witness's pen that was used to steal the poison. I'm not even gonna say for that.
Take that!
Counsel, what is that bottle? This bottle contains the unique chemical reagent that can identify the poison in question. Ah! Yes, that poison is entirely new synthesis of alkaloids. Developed by my colleagues and I. It would be impossible to trace it by any other method. Or, from another perspective, simply within this chemical region, anybody at all could check for traces of the poison. A regent? What? One drop of the contents of this bottle on the tip of your fountain pen, Memi Momo-san, is all it will take to solve this case beyond all reasonable doubt. Nah. No, you can't. I won't. Your crimes are bad enough. But at least know when to admit their defeat. Your Excellency, defense requests permission to carry out the test on the fountain pen at once. Yeah. This isn't my fault. The Emperor drove me to this. Tried to hold its head high like a civilization, but bowing its head to everything. I took him out of the room, mighty better. I thought it was better, and I never touched the righteous of your men. Get him! Cesaro, with me. I'm there. Yo, double takedown. Did I do it right? That was a Cesaro takedown, wasn't it? Not quite. That was a Ryutaro takedown. The instant the first drop of the region touched the nib of the fountain pen, it was clear to everyone present. When I saw it there in the lab, the poison, I just, devil got the hold of me and decided to do it on a whim. I excused myself and emptied out the ink down the sink in the bathroom, washing the reservoir out carefully. And then you waited for the opportunity to suck up some of the poison. Dude, don't do that. You're gonna mess up the pipes, man. Come on. Somebody's gotta clean that, bro. Okay, just suck up some of the poison, didn't you? Into your fountain pen. Yes, that's right. Answer me one thing, Mini Memo-san. Why did you steal it? For what purpose? Isn't it obvious? To find out what it was made of and expose it in an article. I mean, it was a secret project after all. It's easy for a journal like me to pass up. Then why did the Englishwoman end up dead? I went into that hut intending to quiz her on her situation, that's all. As a reporter. Oh, so basically what she said that she said to her, the defendant, the Englishwoman probably said to him. A known killer, enjoying full freedom, evading justice by leaving the country. I told her what I thought about it. And she laughed. And she just laughed in my face. You suck. Oh, what's this? A Far Eastern caveman purporting to practice journalism? Really? You must learn the difference between reporting and listening at doorways, you ignorant plebeian. What? What did you just call me? This country, with its pretensions to a justice system, to a free press, is really very depressing. You see our superior ways in the West, that you lack the mental capacity to emulate them. Get out of here, you oaf. Get out and crawl back into the cave you came from. Huh? That's when I remembered about the deadly poison I happened to have in my pen at the time. What a terrible tale. In my head, I knew I should have just got out there as quickly as possible, but I couldn't. I couldn't let her get away with what she said and done, where she clearly had no remorse at all. I suppose it was my journal spirit getting all fired up. Should have killed her, but you can't even blame me getting bent over that. Yeah. I'd like to ask you something. Yes? You'll often talk about justice. But what kind of justice is that? But surely as a journalist, you could have used other means to deliver the justice you sought. There's no justice in the press. Sorry? After that trial 9 months ago, I kept digging and digging to find out what had happened in that courtroom. And finally, I discovered the truth. It was a cover-up. That's what it was. Cover-up? What do you mean? That will remind you of your position, witness. Be careful of what you say. Oh, come on. Doesn't it strike you as strange? We're suddenly not allowed to convict a foreign national because consular jurisdiction should never have come into it. And yet that puffed up Englishman was going to sail away into the sunset, a free woman. The only possible explanation is that behind the scenes, some deal had gone down between Britain and Japan. What sort of deal? I'd done my research, dug up all the dirt. It was all ready to be published. But you know what happened? The editor just tore the article up. He came under the pressure from the government. Just me? Our government is going to let criminals walk free if they're going to crush the free press. Then what choice do I have but to see that justice is done myself? Let's not forget, Benny Memo-san, is that you committed murder yourself and you tried to lay the blame at the defendant's door. I'm sorry, but that's not just, you're no better than Giselle Brett. What? The truth is, you have no right to talk about justice at all. I suppose. Oh, I do suppose. It would appear that we have reached the conclusion of this trial at last. Counsel for the defense, Ryutaro Naruhodo. Oh. Yes, I am. Sorry, Your Excellency. Dismissing in a manly way. Using in a manly way here. It's almost unbelievable that this is your first experience of the Supreme Court. It was an excellent performance. In truth, it very much reminded me of your cousin's exploits. Oh, Naruhodo's Ryunosuke, you mean? The way he handled the trial 9 months ago and the way you handled this one. It gives me hope that we are generally returned to a new era of justice in this land. That is very flattering, Your Excellency. Hearing the defense you put forward today made me feel most keenly that the future of our justice system will be forged by you and your contemporaries. Thank you. So, Prosecutor Alchi, do you have any final thoughts? Oh! Wait, is that for... Wait, what is he doing? Prosecutor Alchi? I, Tasakusi of the Alchi clan, have been bested by Callow youth not once, but twice. Once now, but twice. If there was any shred of my former self left, it has withered and died here today. Gosh, your journey to the cultural enlightenment sure took a while, didn't it? Silence. Rather than living on his shame. Uh-oh. Sudoku. I will end it all now with this blade. For the fire that is the true path of Alchiism. Alchi-ism? One hopes that the only way in which he'll be modeling himself after the witness. Break of my top knot. The time is right for a farewell. Hope is lost forever. Taketsuchi. Lock in. And there it goes into wind. Oh, wait. Rest in peace. Pour one out. Like, moment of silence. Like, shh. Now, in regard to the defendant, Rei Minbami-san. Yes, Your Excellency. I have reached my final verdict. I hereby find you not guilty. Let's go. Susanna has a 1-0 record. Ryutaro. Ryutaro. Court is adjourned. We did it. It's over. My heart is still pounding in my chest, though. It's all I can do just to stay standing. Lawyers have such a great responsibility, such a great burden to bear. Don't they, Naruhodo-san? Susato! Thank you so much. You were so dashing in there. Ray and father. Honestly, I'm so touched by everything that you... Oh no, I think I'm going to cry. It wasn't easy, but together we made it. I was on the verge of tears at the end too. The only reason I'm still here is because of you. Oh no, I can't take all the credit. I took courage to tell the truth in there. You did wonderfully, Ray. So I would have to say that the tragedy belongs to you. Susato, don't be so standoffish. Sorry? We're friends, equals, and the trial's over. So no more of this former super humility nonsense. It's time to celebrate with swagger, to throw caution to the wind. Caution to the... What? I'm the great defense lawyer, Ryutaro Naruhodo, and I'm taking you out to a milk bar tomorrow, or something. Right, I see. I'll think about it, Ray. At any rate, we really knocked the wind out of that horrid man, and he felt so good. Yes, it was satisfying. It really was. What? Isn't there anybody else we could throw together? Don't look at me. I hope you're not looking at me, Ray. Oh my goodness, no, of course not. Of course not. Ah, there it is at last. Ray's lovely smile. You fought for your friend to the very last. As your father, I'm extremely proud of you. Defense attorney Ryutaro Naruhodo. Thank you, but I couldn't have done it without your help. Anyway, it's time to bid farewell to Ryutaro, I think. I shall miss him in a way, but back to Susato Mikotoba now. So, I'll never see him again then. What a terrible shame. What? They're like, wait, Susato, what is happening? Ah, Soseki-san, Inspector Hosonaga, I do hope you've been keeping well. Wait, Susato's... Is that really you? Yes, I had to change my appearance for, well, obvious reasons, I hope. But it's me, Susato Mikotoba. I don't... So dashing. So divine. No. Doubly dashing, yes, and devilishly divine. Just look at you. I had no idea, Miss Susato-san, Esquires, that you were a local student in our Esquire's cousin. Whoa, you're his cousin? Astounding. Ace attorney. Oh, hold on. I gotta get that down. This down. That's gonna be the title for the VOD. Astounding Ace attorney. There you go. Poor Soseki-san, so confused. I still remember the first time I ever met him. He was in a prison cell in London. What an extraordinary conundrum it was that a wedding student from Japan found himself embroiled in. But after Naruhodo-san's skillful defense of the Old Bailey, Soseki-san was free to return to Japan. And now he seems to have earned himself great fame as an author. I'm stunned. That's a truly impressive disguise. Even I have no idea. I'm a chief inspector at the police bureau. Who came up with Mr. Turtle, no less? I'm not sure you should be admitting to that, Inspector. Amazing. You're a woman of many faces, I see. This too, really. And this was this is a once in a lifetime event, I hope. Oh, I'm not a patch on you though, Inspector. Well, I am a professional, of course. I do worry about the Inspector Hosonaga sometimes. I really do. He was there 9 months ago when he appeared here at the Supreme Court to testify. He was undercover, disguised as the head waiter of a restaurant. Yeah, at the ship too. Then on the steamship to Great Britain, of course, disguised as a sailor to keep us safe on the journey. So that didn't help you, did it, Hatsuko-sama? From my perspective, I have admit that I have mixed feelings about all this. I mean, now the truth has been lost forever. What do you mean? I'm talking about the murder that the Englishman committed at the end of last year. Ah, yes. It was the English doctor she killed, as I understand it. Dr. John H. Wilson, yes. The man that I invited to Japan personally. The mystery is, why did she kill him? And now the culprit himself is dead, we'll probably never know the answer. On the voyage to Great Britain, we had a most unexpected encounter with Mr. Herlock Sholmes, the great detective, I mean. Yes, I remember Mr. Sholmes well, of course. Ah, my arch nemesis, how lightly you utter his name. Well, according to the stories published about him in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, the detective once had a partner who helped him solve crimes. A best friend. And that man was an exceptional doctor of medicine by the name of John H. Wilson. What? Dr. Wilson? I just can't believe it. That's a coincidence. I think the English doctor of medicine killed here in Japan 9 months ago must have been the friend of the partner of Mr. Sholmes. And if that's really true, Iris is dead, then the poor girl won't ever see her beloved father again. As you know, I traveled to Great Britain once myself to study. It was around the time that you were born. Yes, grandmother told me about it. I'm returning to Japan. I took up my professorship at the Imperial Yume University, but I also serve another role as an advisor to the government on diplomatic affairs. Yes, I was aware of that as well. In that case, I'm sure you understand that there are some confidential matters I cannot divulge to you. Could you just tell me one thing? Why did you summon me back to Japan? Huh? It's been 2 months now since I returned. When I left England, it was because an urgent telegram had arrived from Japan. It said that you'd collapsed with a high fever and you were growing weaker by the day. But yeah, obviously that's not true. He was fine. What? Where did that news come from? Huh? That's what I'd like to know. Because after the long sea voyage, I found you in fine health, father. Was there something in Great Britain that you perceived might inconvenience me in some way or harm me? That's really the only explanation I can think of. So he's worried, but hear me. Do you reserve your most cutting glares for your father's desire? I'm sorry, my dear. I simply can't. Ah! Let me go! Ah. 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 Me? Many memo-san. So, one throw was enough for you. I've got one last thing to say to you before they take me away. Professor, me. I know the truth. I know you had a hand in what went on in that visiting student's fate. Visiting student? Giselle Brett, you mean? No, not her. The student of law who left for... What? No, not her. The student of law who left for Great Britain 8 months ago. What? Student of law? He must mean Kazuma. Kazuma-sama. What are you talking about? What does anything to do with Kazuma-sama? Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know that the guy... They don't know that the guy never made it to England. That he died on that steamship. And that he'll never... Ah! Uh-oh. He... Well, I didn't expect to find him in here. What were you officers... What were you officers playing at? Terribly sorry, Your Excellency. A judge takedown. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I was going to tell you that the Ryutaro arrived, Eugen, and it's a good job that I came by. Yes, thank you for dealing with him, and I'll be there shortly. Oh, Your Excellency. Ha 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 ha. The trial's over. I'm not Your Excellency anymore. Merely your father's friends. Seishiro Jigoku. I'm pretty sure that means judge or something. And may I say, since last saw you seem to have taken a more dashing appearance, Susato. Did you know all along? from the very start of the trial? A judge sees everything, Susato. I couldn't let you take the risk. It's Seishiro here had known, and then he recognized you. So I had a word in his ear beforehand as an old friend. So, Seishiro, shall we? Yes, having ruled on that case, we now have various diplomatic issues to address. Before you go, father. Sorry, my dear. We shall have to return to our earlier conversation at a later date. But well done again, both of you. You did admirably. Oh, thank you very much. What did you think of my Seishiro sling, hey? It's been a while since I sent that man flying like that. Whatever could father be hiding from me? About Jezebel Brett, about Dr. Wilson, and about Kazuma. And now it seems, according to the reporter, Kazuma, about Kazuma-sama. If we're going to have to bring this up with father sometime when nobody else is around. Judicial Assistant Mikotoba-san, Esquires, could I have a word? Oh, yes, of course. Sasaki-san? What is it? I think perhaps it could be fate that we're meeting again like this now. You see, there's something I need to tell you. Oh? I believe that it may be related to the reason why your father summoned you back from England. Hmm? That's this I have to hear. Please, Sasaki-san, tell me at once. I will. As you know, my time in England was terrible. Cursed, I have no doubt. Such awful things I was embroiled in. Thank goodness local student Naruhodo-san X-Wire stepped in. After he secured my freedom, I couldn't wait to get on that ship back here to my homeland. Having arrived in Japan, I submitted a report about my experiences to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The next thing I knew, I had a visitor. It was your father, Professor Mikotoba. He wanted to ask me all sorts of things about my report. My father? He seemed to be expressly taken with a particular part of the report. Anyway, he left eventually, having thoroughly quizzed me. But it was the very next day that he sent. But it was the very next day that he sent telegram to you asking you to return to Japan. Was it? What was it then? What particular part my father was interested in? It's something related to how I don't really know exactly. Do you remember them? Those two terrible cases I was caught up in? Two? Of course, I can never forget. Your father seemed to be concerned himself mainly with the second case. The second one? You mean the one Mr. Soames forbade any of us to talk about in public? Okay. Yeah, it's okay. So no, so that the second case, what are you talking about? Like, second case, what case is he talking about? You only dealt with him the one time. The one Mr. Soames forbade any of us to talk about in public. Which is why the only case involving you that any member of public is aware of is the first. So basically, okay, so basically we're gonna have another flashback to a case that we got skipped over. That takes place during the first game. The timeline of the first game, but we couldn't talk. But I don't care. I don't have to listen to what that dastardly detective says. Anyway, the point is, it seems that case somehow holds the key to all these curious and unanswered questions. The horrific, hideous case, the case that of the haunted lodgings. That case somehow caused my father to summon me urgently back to Japan. But no, yeah, but yeah, no. In the first game, it said 2 months has passed with no cases. Perhaps that was only the start. Perhaps the story is not yet told.
So, the mystery of that English woman's death is solved, thank goodness. And having stood in the Supreme Court now, I think I can comprehend a little better how you must be feeling as you fight for people's freedom in a foreign land, Naruhodo-san. But actually, I'm writing to you today because of another matter. I met Soseki-san and we talked about that second case he was involved in. Father has said nothing to me, but I feel certain of it. That case holds the key to some great unsolved mystery. My notes on the case should still be in the office, tucked away at the back of the shelves on the left. Perhaps you might like to look over them again. Today, for the first time this year, it feels as though summer has arrived. The sky is a brilliant blue. It makes me long to see you again. Yours, Susato.
Our number one judicial assistant, or the number one judicial assistant, our right hand lady. So, let's check it out, the cutscene. But hold on, before we do, yeah, I don't know. I kind of don't like when games do that. Where it's like, oh, hey, here's this thing that happened during the first game. What? But I don't remember that. Yeah, because it didn't happen. Yeah, there's a reason you couldn't see it. Okay, so I wasn't crazy because at the start he said when he was on the stand he said 2 times. I'm like, 2 times, and I'm like, what is he talking about 2 times? We only helped him the 1 time, and we were literally told that yeah, I hadn't taken the case in 2 months. Oh, except for this case, I forgot to mention to you, the player. And like, oh, sick. Memories of the Clouded Kokoro. Yeah, this is just like the first game. There's only 5 cases. Case number 2. Memories of the Clouded Kokoro. The Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro. Back to fucking Thing Street.
It was a ghastly tale of a winter's night. One of an invisible killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road. As the victim lay at death's door, the mystery of just who had stabbed the young lady from behind had been resolved. But no sooner had my friend saved that Eastern Exchange student from his harrowing plight than in the dim, flickering shadows of gaslight did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of that very night. I dare say most can still recall the sensational headlines of the day. Haunted apartment of death, the condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal gas. Yet, though the great detective had at once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene, it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain on a most tragic play.
Yeah, we saw that this guy in the first game, but we did nothing. Nothing came about him. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a fledgling lawyer just starting out on my journey. 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student of law, having made that long voyage across the sea from the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. On the way, in quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of a world-famous detective. Our dustbin's cleared. Currently, I reside in the attic of the detective's own lodgings, from where I run my legal consultancy of sorts. I successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey, but since a particular grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now, I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return, but that epic trial was just one small part of an epic tale, a tale which was now about to awaken from its slumber. Thanks to a lover arrived this morning from my homeland. Oh, what a delicious smell, wafting up the stairs. It must be nearly time for breakfast. I better go down to Mr. Stone's suite I say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate. '30th of August. So sweet. Ah, Bruno, good. I was just about to call up to you. The bacon's ready. Good morning, Iris. It smells delicious as usual. Before we eat, though, I have some news. I had a surprise this morning. Shh, not another word, Mr. Naruhodo. Let's go. This could be just the abstruse thing for my pre-breakfast stagnation repelling mental stimulation, my dear fellow. Morning to you too, Mr. Soames. Ah, yes, I see. So that's it. You know what? Let's save. So I get a bit of a jump scare. Ah. The truth is as clear as me to this day. My faculties of observation have revealed it again. What are you talking about? You, Mr. Naruhodo, you have this very morning met with a surprise. Well, is that not the case? Really, my dear fellow, it barely warrants explanation. Firstly, your hair is particularly unkempt, somewhat reminiscent of a bird's nest. Secondly, you have neglected to fasten the third button on of your jacket. Clearly, when considered together, these two facts point to you haven't been flustered this morning. Can I talk now? But of course, though I don't look for admiration, you understand? My hair always looked like this. It's been this way since I first met you. Oh, it has? And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember. By you. Apparently pulled your button off. Ah, yes, I recall the incident now. It was after supper, was it not? As the evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of a haunting tune. But then, to my utter dismay, the third string snapped. Why did it have to happen? Why? Little wonder then that in my vexation, I grabbed the first button I saw and ripped it from its proper place. Yeah, and well, I'd like it back now, please. It's troubling me that I can't fasten my jacket. And it's troubling me that you expect me to know where it is, somewhere thereabouts on the floor, one pursues. Helpful. What's the matter? What matters at the present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my detection was unerring. Hurley, Winner said it when he came in, didn't he? I had a surprise this morning. Oh. Well, that really is a surprise. Yes, this man is the pride of the British Empire. The famous consulting detective, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name. All right then, enough of this silly conversation. I'm gonna eat this bacon before it goes cold. And I have a new herbal tea for you to try too. My latest special blend. This is Iris. Here we have Iris Wilson, Mr. Soames' lodger and companion. A truly exceptional young girl who's the author of a highly successful serialization here in London. Yes, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, as published in Rance magazine. So, Mr. Naruhodo, won't you put us out of our misery? What surprised you this fine morning? Ah, well, I received a letter from Japan. Oh, from Susie, you mean? Was it? Really? That's right. And she had some rather startling news, in fact. Ah, intriguing indeed. You must tell us about it over breakfast. Oh yes, what a fun. Okay, so all right, that's gonna be it for me. I think that's a good stopping point, and it's almost time. It's almost bedtime. But yeah, so far so good. That was a good first trial. It was a tutorial trial, so I didn't expect much, but even then it was like, oh, has some interesting revelation tons. But yeah, as always, if you like what you saw, please consider leaving a like on YouTube, Twitter, like on YouTube, or follow me on YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter for the stream updates, stream VODs, and anything in between. And hopefully I will see you in the next stream. Bye bye.